Shift, your safe space. We're talking about UFOs, UAPs, NHI, disclosure, and everything else your friends, family, and coworkers are so sick and tired of hearing you go on and on about. The Strait of Hormuz is back open as of 2.5 hours ago. This just broke on CNN. Just came across the desk. I don't know if there's any new information on that, but we have someone who might joining us on our panel today. Big show today. Rob Jones, special guest, News Nation. Sir, how are you?
Fantastic, Clint. Thank you for asking.
Congratulations.
Thanks.
Congrats, man. Yeah, it's awesome. I was following this journey closely, the interview process, and I remember how elated you were, and you should be. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it's an absolute dream of a position. I have to say that I never expected to be sitting here in the newsroom right now talking to you guys, much less being able to talk to you guys as part of my role, which this is. So shouts out to my bosses and everybody here at the organization who's enabled me. I'm really, really, really happy. For those in the chat that are not aware, the viewers, my name is Rob Jones. I'm a research producer for Reality Check with Ross Coulthard here at News Nation. I work with Ross and Megan to try and bring you guys as much quality UFO and UAP coverage as possible. I just started this week, but it's already been a journey. So,
and I understand you're not required to dress this way. Is that true?
No, I'm not required to dress this way at all. I do it just because it makes me feel good. No, really, I thank you, Gerb, by the way, one of my best friends in the world.
Who's Gerb?
I've never heard of him. So now I dress this way because I have already gotten into the habit of going to a lot of congressional offices. And because of that, I think it's more of there's power in a uniform, right? I was in the military for many years. I like the feeling of wearing a uniform. I like looking sharp. It's a degree of aura, of confidence that you can instill in yourself when you wear a uniform and you know you're wearing the right clothes for the job. And of course, that parlays itself into my ability to just kind of waltz into people's offices and get statements from them. So helps to have this badge. This badge gets you places too.
Can now I don't want to put you in a weird position because you just started, but can people see the rest of the space? Can you show that, or was that something that only we could see? Just so people could see how big of an operation this is.
Yeah. Then if you want to throw this up on the big screen, I'll give everybody a quick pan.
Here we go.
All right, everybody. So this is where I work. Welcome to News.
Wow, the nerve center.
There we go. Just a quick look.
Outstanding.
So I don't want to bother them too much.
Wow. Well, and I understand you just published your first piece on newsnation.com on Anna Paulina Luna, yes?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that.
Completely unintended. I was doing the rounds yesterday, taking a walk around, introducing myself to various offices so that I can get in contact with communications directors, things like that. Begin, sort of crafting those relationships, because for a long time, Reality Check has wanted to have a person in DC to be able to go out and speak to these lawmakers. So taking it upon myself to do that. I was lucky enough that when I walked into Representative Luna's office, I began speaking to a gentleman that was by the door, happens to be their communications director, Dave Leatherwood. And the moment that I mentioned I was the new UFO guy from News Nation, all of a sudden the chairwoman of the task force stepped out, and there she was, and she was willing to answer a few of my questions right then and there. So things just happen,
That is outstanding. So what did you learn about the situation vis-a-vis these videos that we were supposed to be able to see, and what is going on? What is the current state of play regarding Congress and disclosure?
It was insinuated to me through her statements, and statements were somewhat vague and very much off the cuff. We ran them back by our communications director to make sure that we didn't take those out of context or anything. She seems to want to lean on her friendship with Pete Hegseth in order to facilitate the release of those videos. She does believe that there's a particular unnamed Department of Defense employee who was responsible for that request not being forwarded correctly. I attempted to ask if this was a certain public affairs officer with the first name of Susan. like Susan Gao, but I got cut off on that question, so I didn't really get an answer there. I do know that the type of subpoena that they intend to utilize is going to be what's called a subpoena duces tecum, which means in Latin, that means a subpoena to produce evidence or things, which is specifically they would be subpoenaing the videos themselves, the files themselves, if they did not receive those through more congenial means through EXIF. I don't know what the timetable is for that. I tried to ask about that, but also she didn't have time. She's moving on to an interview with someone. But I'm going to continue to follow up over the course of the next several days and weeks to see where we're at with that. It's sometimes hard to get a statement of more than 30 to 40 seconds from a lawmaker because of the way their schedules are. So especially when it was just off the cuff.
How is it possible? Like, how do you deal with this sort of conflicting narratives of you have Congress and the president saying this is a thing, we're going to look into it and we want to see the evidence, and then you have these people in the Department of Defense at the Pentagon saying we don't know what you're talking about, this doesn't exist, this is all very silly. And if it's, how can you produce evidence on something that you've gone on record saying isn't even real?
Well, there's that. It's interesting that they had an entire list of file names and they knew where they were. I don't know who provided those file names to them. One of the things that I tried to recommend to them was that they could send a freeze letter to the Secretary of Defense, which would require them legally, they have the legal authority to do this too. They would be able to send a letter to the Secretary of Defense that has a legal obligation for them to freeze those files. So that those files are not, altered in any way, downscaled, so on and so forth. The real problem that I see personally, and again, I didn't get the opportunity to raise this concern with the chairwoman, but the real problem that I saw with the way that her letter was initially phrased is that the letter is phrased in such a way that it demands the delivery of those materials, those videos or files, to the secure compartmented information facility that Congress has access to. The problem is that secure compartmentalized information facility does not have what's called a JWICS terminal or SIPRNet access. For those in the civilian world that don't know what those things are, it's a secure connection to the Department of Defense's very, very secure computer network, where you would be able to access those files directly from their source within their secure enterprise cloud. The fact that they don't have that terminal is going to complicate things, because that means the Department of Defense, in order to deliver or comply with that request, would need to then put those files onto some medium that they can transport, whether that's a DVD, some other form of secure medium like a flash drive or something like that. They would need to put them on there, and that is a direct opportunity for them to downgrade, remove metadata, take out GPS data, things like that. All of the things that would provide additional data to the task force and to staffers like David Grush that would help them determine more concrete, points of data.
Is there for files like, so point one you're saying is that they had a specific list of files that they knew they were looking for, so that they can't deny that those exist. They knew they were there. Are you saying also that the JWICS terminal, just so I understand, is that a terminal where they can only view the data that's coming from the other end? They can't, none of that data gets stored on that terminal? No,
well, yes, that's true.
In other words, when its system is on, that's what you're looking at. When you turn it off, there's no record. There's no...
Right. I'm not going to get into the specifics of how JWICS works because I'm not super familiar with it.
Sure.
That would be a better question for one of our like senior Defense Department contacts or something like that. But I just know that it's a terminal that you must have access to in order to access those files remotely. Without that terminal and being able to access those files from the source at which they're from, like the actual source at their original raw file size. Without that, I think it severely calls into question the effectiveness of such a request.
When you said those files could be frozen, is there a chain of history on every time those files get changed or altered or downgraded or upgraded? Is there some kind of like
I think so, but I don't know the answer to that. That would be, again, a better question that I need to pose to someone who does have JWICS access who could tell me.
So I just wonder how you would know, like, how would you know for sure that you didn't get a degraded version of the...
I was told by someone in the know that having the terminal would be the best way to know that. So I assume that there is some sort of log. So
when I say I know the source of this list or whatever, I don't really know, but it's alluded to, and it's a public video, so I think we could show it, on the latest episode of Weaponized. After this is why you consume 15 hours of Bob Lazar content in 1 week, because you learn stuff.
Where do you get 15 hours, man? God.
Oh man, I've had some late nights.
Content that's come out this week.
Yeah. I have watched all of it now. As of today, I have watched every single new interview. But this interview was actually with Luigi, the director of the S4 documentary.
Number one on Amazon, by the way, Project Rabbit. Yeah. Shout out to our guy Luigi.
Congrats.
Yeah, it's great. But yeah, I will share this because I believe Corbell shares a little bit of extra info here. Sorry, just give me 1 second. Where are we looking? There it is. Sorry about that. I'm a little bit out of sorts today because I haven't got my mic. I'm on a lav today, so everything feels like it's in a different place.
You're doing great.
Right here. Thanks, buddy.
We're proud of you. You got this.
Here we go.
Don't go out because it's either dangerous or they're trying to fool us. But this I still stand behind. Now, interestingly enough, if you look at this list, it was sent to the Secretary of Defense, Department of War, Pete Hegseth, and this is by Rep Luna and our friends Rep Burleson, Rep Burchett. And in here, they asked for 46 different videos by name of UAP that are on servers, really sensitive servers.
Get that list, Jeremy. Do you have any thoughts on that? We can talk about it some other time.
I think it is no surprise to people that we have been working with Congress to make sure that they get the best of the best. These videos exist. We know for a fact they do, George and I. In fact, we've seen, if not all, most of them. Now, the second one on the list, we put out Syria UAP Instant Acceleration 2021. What makes me excited, you're talking about evidence and talking about authority coming forward. Here's an opportunity. Here's an opportunity to give the world this data. Most of these videos, there's nothing wrong with it being whatever they need to do to get it out. Declassify, whatever they say. These videos will not hurt America. Maybe there's 1 or 2 that shouldn't come out. This whole list can come out. And I suspect you're going to see a lot of videos if they don't cough it up. And so I really see this as an opportunity to show the world the best evidence that they have. And this isn't even the best evidence. They did not, maybe if we gave them 13 videos from the Air Force by name, we just gave them the names of them and which servers to go look at. They didn't print those. But if they just released these, if they just did that, you'd have that, Luigi.
The best video evidence that's probably accessible if Congress gets lucky and really keeps on pressing the issue. They know where they are, and they're now monitoring it to make sure it suddenly doesn't disappear off the face of the earth.
So that's supposed to happen probably the day we release this episode, somewhere around there. If this is, we release it, I think right around that day, they have the opportunity to give the American public bangers, just amazing UAP footage that they designated UAP that show observables. And if they don't do it, I suspect that journalism will do their job.
Well, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
That sounded like a threat, which I'm all for.
I think Duncan Ferrer 2656 speaks for all of us when he says, what the wallpaper and furniture, what was that room?
That's all I could think about. Like,
they're at the Dreamland Motel, baby.
That looked like the Dreamland lobby. That's where they are. Wow, great wallpaper.
That's room 115 right there, guys.
It's room 115, E115. Oh my God. Very interesting. So, okay. Journalism will do its job. Okay. I guess we'll have to wait.
Those videos will be seen one way or another.
Are you saying I have to work?
Yeah. You got to work, man. What do you?
I have a question though.
Oh, go ahead. You do yours and then I'll ask.
Are those videos classified? Because if they are, and Jeremy saw them, isn't he not supposed to see them?
That's not how that works.
Okay, can you explain? Because I don't really understand it. Please.
No, I don't know the specific laws to be able to cite off the top of my head. I would have to Google that for you. But essentially, for the most part, disclosure to a journalist, the journalist is protected. I see. Don't have to, like, if someone shows me classified information, I'm not in trouble for that at all. I can't. I mean, technically, they can get in trouble. Absolutely. You know, the whistleblower, and that's why we don't give up our sources. But you know,
how is a journalist defined in legal terms, though? Like, because can a podcaster say I'm a journalist, or do you have to be employed by like an actual, you know?
You need to have a track record
Publisher.
of employment as a journalist, and
you need to be able to prove it in court. Basically,
there's also like a guild that in the U.S. that you apply to. Not everybody is in there, but
that's you're not required to do that. But like, you know,
you've got to argue
the
successfully.
definition of journalist is pretty broad, I think, in the modern era. So
in the UK,
there's a lot of room there.
It's very broad, but the as long as what you are reporting on could possibly be in the public interest in the UK, you're classed as a journalist. Yeah. So you can go out and film anything you want and from a public place, and if anybody tells you to stop for whatever reason, you can say, you literally cannot tell me to stop because what I'm filming is of interest to the public.
It's also technically the law here in the United States. It's something along those lines. And, you know, you'll get a lot of like weirdo, like First Amendment rights activists that'll go and like film people in public aggressively and stuff like that. But it's the general principle that they're operating on is that you do have the right to go out and film it and do journalism and get information. And if someone tells you classified information, it's not your fault that they divulged a classified fact to you.
What happens if I'm Mexican and not American and I'm doing that in the US? How does that affect me?
It's called the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, my friend. You can absolutely have a warrant out in your name and you can be surveilled, and there's a possibility that you could be jailed as a spy.
All right.
If you're cool with
the more
that,
you know.
That's a fringe case, and I don't know of any examples of individuals as journalists that have been targeted in that way. But I do know that through the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act, which is a very, very, very contested, not a lot of people like that act. Through that act, it is absolutely possible to get a warrant out to spy on you. So
I see.
Interesting.
Rob, kind of caught a bad name in the whole Snowden thing, didn't it?
Yeah, it's not. I'm not a fan of that act personally because it's used in weird ways to target foreign individuals and then target their interactions with American individuals. So in a roundabout way, it's used to spy sometimes on Americans, and that's the part that I personally don't like as an individual. It's not the statement of my employer, but you know.
Rob, I'm curious about how Congress looks at the situation of private corporations, you know, the technology that's hidden behind the corporate veil that's being maybe researched with money allocated from, you know, taxpayer funds. How do they intend to look into that, or can they even look into that from their position? What do they do? What oversight can they?
I mean, I would assume. I don't want to assume, actually. Let me take that back. I'll say I had an off-the-record conversation with somebody yesterday about this, and that's an open question.
It's an open question.
It's an open question as to how to pursue any sort of action on that regard. It's known by important individuals that there are pieces of this program, this legacy program, that are very likely in the private sector, completely immune to FOIA, Freedom of Information Act, things of that nature. It's known. It's still an open question as to how to go about that. One of the things that I did discuss with this unnamed person off the record, I'll just say what I said was that, and it was, I mean, I think they were concerned, is that a lot of these private companies are invested in and funded in such a way that those funds are tied into retirement funds for government workers, regular workers all throughout the United States, your pension funds, what have you. So when you look at breaking up, like say, a private equity firm for this reason, you're also endangering a huge amount of people's pensions in the process. And these are regular hardworking Americans. And so you have a situation where they are sort of hostage to that in a respect. And that's one of the really ugly sides of this that hasn't been examined yet. And I hope to sort of shine a light on.
Whoa.
Wow. That's so interesting.
You covered it did you cover this at least in part in Sub Rosa, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah. That was awesome, by the way. I wanted to read the whole thing on the Dreamland episode, but
I mean, That paper got me hired, so among other things.
And that's on your Substack, yes?
Yeah, and I would just advise anybody who reads that, I'm going to be turning off my Substack subscriptions here soon. No one should be subscribing to that or giving money. I have a salaried position. I'm good. You guys don't need to do any of that. But if you want to go read it, it is on my Substack, and we can throw a link to it in the description or something.
Very cool. I want to get your reaction, Rob, to this video that's going around of the president being asked about the missing scientists. Do we have that clip, Xander?
This is a Peter Ducey clip, right, from Fox?
Is it Peter Ducey who asked the question?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes.
I'll find it. Give me a sec.
Yeah. It's just an interesting thing because this story was kept afloat and then boosted by the UFO community and made it all the way up to the presidential level. That's pretty astonishing.
Well, I mean, how do I say this? I mean, the president and his cabinet consume the same media that a lot of other people do, so it doesn't surprise me as much. I just want to hedge my statement on the missing scientists thing. I'm not sure that everyone is related. I'm not sure that these are all interrelated cases. And to quote Richard Eskridge, sometimes scientists just die.
Sure.
But if
Let's
two
take a
of
look.
them are connected, that's a story.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Missing scientists with access to classified stuff, nuclear material, aerospace, they've all gone missing or turned up dead in the last couple months. Based on what you've been briefed, what do you think is happening here, and do you think that this is connected or totally random?
Well, I hope it's random, but we're going to know in the next week and a half. I just left a meeting on that subject, so pretty serious stuff, but we're going to be hopefully, I don't know, coincidence, if you whatever you want to call it, but some of them were very important people, and we're going to look at it over the next short period.
It's impossible that some foreign adversary is in the United States scooping these people up.
Well, you know, Biden had open borders. It wasn't very hard to get here, but we've gotten many of them out. You know, we've caught many people, many very bad people, including thousands of murderers that we've taken out of our country, thousands of drug lords that we've taken out of our country, hundreds of thousands of prisoners that were let into the U.S. that we've taken out of our country.
And he goes on and on.
Yeah. It's always turned into something else.
Yeah.
They should really turn that engine off when they're doing those interviews.
Well,
it's really annoying.
He says he left a meeting on this very subject. So, you know, I would, you know, maybe he did. And if he did leave a meeting on it, that's pretty good. You know, at least it's made it up to that level. That's interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this is certainly a thing that the FBI should be looking into. You know, if there is a thread there.
What are they doing over there?
Yeah.
What are they up to? They should be looking into this. Why aren't they looking into? That's a good question. Has anybody asked that, or is that even?
I'm not aware of an ongoing investigation currently, but based on these comments, it sounds like there probably is one.
Possibly.
It'd be something that is worth bringing up with a couple of the reps that are closer to like FBI funding stuff. I'll have to look into the task forces that handle that and look for them.
What do you guys think about this? The story that it started out as kind of a UFO only little news blip, and then I remember it kind of bubbled up from there through the UFO community, and it got bigger and bigger, and then it was like blowing up on Reddit, and then it kind of became mainstreamed at some point, and then they were asking about it on Fox, and you see people on CNN talking about it. What do you guys make of this?
I think the hook for that is McCaslin. Once McCaslin went, like that's no longer a deniable thing. It's obviously a pretty big story just on its own. This guy was the chairman of the Special Access Program Oversight Committee. So of all the people out there, he would be one of the few that would be of major concern because he had a look at the whole picture, or at least supposedly. My understanding is that there may be special access programs that don't report back, but
I wonder if it's standard for a person in that type of a position. If something, I understand, you know, people sometimes just die or go missing, and you know, they're people too. But when you're in that very unique position and you go missing, does a phone ring somewhere? Does a special light go off and people send a group of guys to go figure out what exactly happened?
Air Force Office of Special Investigations got involved immediately.
Immediately. Okay.
To my understanding, it was almost immediate. So
wow. Interesting. And it still remains.
It's not something that hit the UK news-wise. I mean, the fact that Trump's been asked about it and he's apparently had meetings on it, that is quite literally news to me. Like, that's not something. It was on your news. It wasn't on ours. So,
well,
I don't.
The British people are probably very, very tired of dealing with scientists' deaths. You guys already had your own wave in the '80s with the Marconi deaths.
Yeah,
so.
But yeah, it's. I don't even know any of the 10 people missing or anything like that. Like, it's just not something we've really been told about. I don't know why that is.
What's the elevator pitch, Rob, on why McCaslin is so critical? Like in 30 seconds, if you could.
I mean, like I just said, because he was on the Special Access Program Oversight Committee and probably had a very strong top-down view of most of the special access programs within the United States military. Specifically, he was the chairman. In addition to that, he would have had structural knowledge of how things are compartmentalized, and then you pair that with the fact that he was involved with advising Hillary's campaign with John Podesta. Please don't quote me on that. I may be slightly mistaken on that. But also, he was an advisor to the Stars Academy of Arts and Sciences, which was Tom DeLonge's company that he started to facilitate UFO disclosure. Obviously, that didn't go the way that they planned. Some of the technology stuff got stymied because they got involved in a CRADA, a Creative Research and Development Agreement with the U.S. Army, and then it all got classified. But his involvement there speaks volumes. So, not to mention McCaslin's wife is a TSSCI cleared individual as well.
Yeah, it's super weird.
Didn't know that either.
Weird. That's what's going on. And it's not just him, but the connections. How tenuous are these other connections? Are they strong connections between him and these other scientists who have gone missing, or are they loose associations? Like, how connected?
Didn't just Reza work under him and that was it?
Yeah, there's only like one or two real connections there, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So that's been exaggerated in your view, maybe a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to be too critical of an individual, although I know that there is an individual that helped launch this story, and it's an individual who's using like LLM generated articles on their website. I don't want to say the name of it, but a lot of, how do I say this politely? A lot of loose associations got turned into things that sounded a lot more concrete on that website. And on the Substack articles that have been associated with it, I'm not a fan of it. And every time I go into the Reddit comments when that individual posts that stuff, I always ask, hey, what model do you use? And then they delete the thread. So it's a thing.
I don't believe people for 1 second would make connections where there's not connections, Rob. Come on.
Well, no, they don't. They let the computer do it for them.
The internet.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Rob. And I wouldn't be surprised, because this really pissed me off as well, that they're like starting to go back even further and involving other deaths or disappearances that have happened. And it really sucks. Like,
we're now creating a web where there was none.
Yeah, and like Jack Parsons died under mysterious circumstances. Do you want to investigate him too? 1952. I mean, come on, man. Sorry. I just get I get angry when I see misleading headlines, and that happened just recently.
I mean, at the same time, though, if all of these people like disappeared or died under weird circumstances, if the final end result of this is that the FBI gets involved and solves even one of these deaths or disappearances, it's a net positive. So I try not to get upset about it.
That's true. Yeah, I just didn't appreciate seeing that headline from the Daily Mail yesterday. And I just want to talk about it because I know who the editor is, and that had to be approved. And it was approved, and it wasn't just one headline. There were two headlines from the same place. And they were talking about Amy Eskridge and the whole case with Amy Eskridge. And it's a really complicated case. And the last thing that I heard actually came from you, Rob, that it's a quote from her father that I don't know if you want to read to us, just to put it to bed.
Yeah, so my network specifically reached out to Richard Eskridge for statement. They wanted to do an interview with him because the story did come up. And I'm just going to read that off to you guys verbatim. Just from our field reporter, Nancy Liu. She just spoke briefly. She said, I just spoke briefly with Amy's father, Richard. He's not interested in being interviewed, nor does he believe his daughter's death was suspicious. He told her, quote, scientists die also, just like other people.
Yep. Let's just respect the family and just, you know, if anybody wants to just keep talking about possible scenarios, let them do it. But you know, I don't think it's tasteful, you know, to do that. It's leave me alone.
Yeah, I get it. It's tough because on the Amy story, I know enough from having spoken to reporters down in Huntsville, other people who have sort of gone down the rabbit hole, talked to Mark Sokol, who's her former partner, talked to Frank Milburn, who was also involved with that story. I am of the opinion that it was more than likely mental health related, and that we should try and give the family a break on that front because they believe that too. But you know, look, far be it from me to tell people what to investigate. If you want to try and find out more, do so. If you find information that I don't know about, great, let's figure it out. But as it stands, you know, let's at least be polite to the family.
I was just sorry, Clint, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Xander. Go ahead.
I was just going to repeat what I said just before we went live, because we were talking about whether or not it's appropriate to really talk about this stuff. I think you'd arrived at this point, Robin, but if not, it's really easy to, when you're a ufologist, to find entertainment in all of this stuff, because when you can weave it into that web that you've built up over all of these years, you get that endorphin rush of like fitting the piece in the puzzle and things like that. But this isn't something. These are real, like, regardless of the circumstances, these are 10 people that have gone missing or passed away. And it's like every single one of them has an extended family that is mourning or has mourned their death. And it's like, maybe it's not quite as entertaining as perhaps. And I've said it several times, actually coming to Washington and talking to you and other people in real life, it turns it from just something you read about on Reddit as a pastime, as a hobby, to something that's got real effects and real implications. And I don't like to tell people what not to talk about and stuff, but speculation for entertainment's sake is tough in this particular area, and I don't know how to talk about it, so I wouldn't. And that's basically
it's a discipline to not let ourselves get to that point where we're treating it as entertainment. It is fun, but we have to not make connections where maybe there's not. You know, you gotta check yourself.
You got to be sure.
Yeah. And speculation is good. Speculation leads you down. Yeah, good.
I'm sorry. I just want to clarify to everybody. Like, I've seen a few comments in the chat. I'm not saying Amy was right or wrong about what it is that she said. That's not for me to determine. I'm just telling you that it is my belief that her death was mental health related. That's it. I'm not trying to say what the truth is.
And whatever the truth is, it's not going to be discovered by us. You know, like, we're not going to solve it on a podcast, and people aren't going to solve it in a Reddit forum or in a chat window. It's whatever happened is out of our hands. So I think that, you know, there's a limit to what we can do.
Yeah.
Unless you're Eric Schlimmer and you'd literally go out looking for the guy.
Yeah.
Go out.
Yeah.
Well,
that's right.
In McCaslin's case, and on an individual basis, there is a true crime sort of curiosity aspect to it. It's a mystery. Like, this is like a movie, you know, a thriller, an Oliver Stone movie. This guy, who is he? What this weird program that he's tied into suddenly goes missing. I mean, there's definitely, I can see why it's an interesting story, because it is, but yeah, there's a limit to what you can do. I mean, you can speculate a little bit, but after a while. That's why I don't like to stay on the same stories over and over again and just stick to them. There's almost so much happening. Have you guys seen this post on UFOB, the CN-235 MPA camera leak, the star-shaped UAP object? Have you seen this? It's got, what are we up to? 6.1 thousand upvotes. I think I've got it here, Xander. If you don't have it, I'll show you.
If I'm not mistaken, several of those images carry a Gemini synth ID within the file metadata.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted to get your feedback on this because I understand from reading the comments that this first image is actually an AI re-rendered, upscaled version of this photo. So someone had said that up front, but this photo is supposedly real, at least according to the poster.
This is another thing that hit the Daily Mail as well, and it's probably why it's gotten so popular. I'm going to steal the screen a second.
Yeah. This one looks like it's got redactions out here on the sides.
Is that? Oh, never mind.
You know what the scariest part of all that is, Clint? Is that you browse Reddit in light mode.
He's a sick man, dude. He's sick.
You are right. I should. Yeah, it does.
I mean, Clint, you recognize these images, don't you?
Yeah.
We were part of this story way back in the day. This was Mr. Immaculate.
Yeah, Mr. Immaculate
that gave these out with Nathan. There it is. There it is.
Yeah, there
Strange
it is.
Mysteries.
Yeah.
And at the time, what was the sense that
you
looks
got? Like a TIE fighter
know,
without the wings.
Yeah. Yep. Or a watch. I have an opinion. Yeah. What's your opinion after all this time and with the resurgence of these images?
I think you said it best a few months ago. You were like, or it was either you or Dan. One of you said, just fuck off. If all you have is pictures now, that's really like, what can you prove with a photograph? At best, you could start a conversation with a photograph. And even, especially these, they're so far outside of what I, associate with typical UAP. You know who would be a good person to ask is,
Hey, Gary, do you have
he wrote the Atlas of Unidentified Objects.
Andy McGrillen.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah, Andy McGrillen.
I wonder what he would say about these.
I just remember that the guy that was supposedly Mr. Immaculate himself, he only wanted to give the images and not talk about them in the slightest, which was a huge red flag off the bat. He didn't want to corroborate anything whatsoever, which you could speculate and say, well, of course he can't. He's putting his life at risk. It's like, well, don't show us the images. Don't show us the images then.
Well, Nathan was the guy who hosted, what was the name of that channel?
Strange Mysteries.
Strange Mysteries. And he had gotten this series of strange emails from a person who claimed to be this insider with these photos. Mr. Immaculate was the name they went by. And then he made a couple of videos about this exchange, and those videos kind of blew up. I forget what the view counts were towards the end, but they were up there. And it was just really weird. Supposedly these were images pulled from within the Immaculate Constellation database, I guess, or system. Not really sure what.
There's the ceiling fan.
The ceiling fan, the Swatch watch, that's just a moon and
There's
night.
a lot of, what was that star one? There it is.
His name is Patrick.
Who?
That
What?
No, this is Patrick.
Someone on the Reddit said, this is what a 4D object would look like in 3D. I was like, how do you know that?
Shut up.
Actually,
Get out of here.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. The question that's on my mind lately is, and we talked about this a little bit last week, this idea of we see a variety of different types of craft doing a variety of different things. And it's, the crafts seem to be mission specific in some way. The shape is associated with whatever it is they're doing. I understand that, and there are a bunch of different shapes of craft, but there are also craft that look completely different, like the bunt cake. What did he call it, or the jelly mold, or whatever?
Jelly
Bob,
mold, yeah.
jelly mold. So we talked about this last week. What is the percentage? Let's say that the craft we've seen are a cross section of craft from maybe 70 or 80 different civilizations or types of life, right? That are just coming and going. What percentage of those populations are actually space traveling people? Are we meeting their 1% of 1% top tier NASA people, or are we meeting like
joyriders?
Is it common to travel like this? How special is it to be able to do this kind of travel even within an advanced society that has access to this technology? Is that something that's reserved for a very select few, or is it something that's widely available? I guess that's
such a fun thought.
I mean, I would hope if they're that advanced, they're in some form of post-scarcity society, so you should be able to joyride around and do this, but who knows?
Right. I mean, it's the same level of destructive power, right? As it is for us, it is for them. So it's the risks are the same. I guess if you had, you just hear about these different encounters that people meet different types of beings. Betty and Barney Hill met one type of being. Travis Walton described a different type of being. Jim Sparks describes reptilians and grays and a combination of different things. I was going through Eyes on Cinema the other day, watching all of these different videos on abductions and abductees, describing all these just various different things. Mantis beings. What percent? How many mantis beings are there? What is the total population? Is it in the billions? Is it in the 100,000s? That's who will ever be able to answer that. But
well, I've long believed
that
to get to that level of technological prowess requires a certain level of maturity in order to get through, and in order to make it there. I mean, how many people would right now say that if we had control of this technology, we would last more than like a year if everybody knew about it? And that probably makes me agree with Greer on this, where it's like, it's either a case that you literally need to be mature enough to be able to develop this technology, or luckily the people in control of this technology throughout most of the universe are overwhelmingly compassionate and mature themselves, and are literally just quarantining us to make sure that we don't get our hands on this before we're ready. I struggle to exist in a ufology landscape where there's good and evil and there's massive cosmic wars and stuff, because I don't see how that could ever work with this level of tech.
Yeah, one of the things that gets brought up a lot, and especially in like popular literature and media, such as Three Body Problem, is the dark forest concept.
Yeah.
Where the universe is this supposed dark forest in which everyone is afraid to like speak up or call out for fear that the other predators, which everybody's attempting to be an apex predator, these other predators are then, they feel compelled to come and kill you to make sure that you never become a threat as early as possible. I would say that just based on what little evidence that we have here, following this subject, the understanding that there is some sort of interaction between non-human intelligence and Earth, that alone throws the dark forest theory out the window, because they could have wiped us off the face of the planet at any time if they wanted to, if they thought we were going to become an interstellar threat. We're already going into space. We're already developing nuclear weapons. We're already developing advanced nanomaterials and fusion. If not now, then when? So we're probably not going to get destroyed.
Question, Rob. What if this is not about space?
I mean, it could be about something else, but that's just as inscrutable as an objective as you could imagine. I mean, I can't imagine what they would be after. And if we can't imagine it, then does it matter to us that much? I don't know.
I like this idea of there's one idea of Earth as some sort of biological research project, or maybe we're quarantined so that we can be run as some type of experiment. I've heard that, and then I've heard this other idea that we're more like a truck stop in a weird part of space where there's travelers coming and going from all kinds of different civilizations that trade with one another, but they stop here to get water sometimes, to get other things, maybe to just fuck around, to get out, goof around with some of the animal life or whatever. And that we are somehow just in the midst of that we're just the people who live at the truck stop. We haven't quite figured out exactly where the trucks are coming and going from.
We're like the Star Wars cantina or something.
Yeah, but dumber. Like we don't even know that we're
like lot lizards.
Yeah.
Lot lizards.
I like it.
Lot lizards?
Yeah.
Yeah. They were just kind of like hanging around. And they've done experiments on us, and maybe sometimes we breed with some, they crossbreed with some humans, and there's weird like little pockets of that and DNA that kind of mix in, and it's much more dirty and disorganized than a pristine, orderly experiment proceeding according to a 10,000 year timeline.
It's like 12-year-olds finding ants. Hey, let's mess with them.
Yeah, kind of, right? I don't know. This week, it was another big story that came out that Steven Spielberg is going to keep the entire third act of Disclosure Day under wraps until the film actually opens. But we got a little bit of information on what that contains. Pavel, do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. So I don't know how many of you guys know that I'm a film buff. I really love movies since I was a kid. So when I was doing sports journalism simultaneously, I was also consuming as much film journalism as I could. And one of the events that I really love is CinemaCon, which happens in Vegas. And it's been happening this week. And Steven Spielberg was part of one of the panels talking about Disclosure Day. He showed a 5-minute clip where they showed the alien, the being. And yeah, he said that there was more truth than fiction in the film. And that part about the third act that is not going to be shown until June the 12th.
Do you think that's a social media like marketing play to just play into these rumors that it's going to contain something?
Yeah,
mind-blowing.
Both, like
could be real
because the Avengers do it too. Like the Marvel does it all the time. Rob knows he loves that stuff like I do. So it's part of it, yeah. But that doesn't mean that Steven Spielberg didn't have Dr. J. Allen Hynek as an advisor for Close Encounters, and that doesn't mean that, for example, Jay Stratton or Leslie Kean weren't sitting at South by Southwest when Spielberg was given his keynote speaking arrangement. So, he's well dialed in and well connected. And I know it's like the easy line to say it's just a movie. We know it's just a movie. But we also know that this dude likes accuracy. That's how he rolls. So this is going to be an accurate representation of what he thinks is going on with the phenomenon today, I think.
Well, it's going to be a Steven Spielberg movie. It's going to be awesome.
Fuck yeah, it is.
Yeah, you got to see it in the theater. You can't wait for this to come out.
Speaking of the theater, by the way, Xander, I have a night off in your hometown when the movie comes out. You and I are going to go to the movies.
Nice.
Right. Okay.
I just realized that. I have a night off.
June 12th.
You're going to be...
Is that the same release date in the UK?
Oh, fuck. I don't know. But that would be
I think
incredible, dude. Let's go to the movies.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, they have a global release. So,
but bigger than Disclosure Day, guys. Bigger than that. Something else happened this week. The new teaser for Spaceballs 2.
Oh.
And I mean, Steven Spielberg is great, but he's no Mel Brooks.
Isn't it the quest for more money?
No. Can we watch it? I'm going to show. Can I show it to you right now? Can you take 2 minutes?
I think it's gonna get flagged, bro.
You think it'll get flagged?
We probably need to put those like that in the Street Fighter one at the end of the video. That way you guys can clip it off.
It's so good though. It's classic Mel Brooks. So good. There apparently the release date is going to be a year from now. So they're saying April 23rd, 2027 if we make it that far.
Daniel Cleary, I am going to take you on a date night.
Hell yeah, dude.
on June the 12th.
You guys are so adorable.
I demand funny business. I want some funny business.
This will be merely a couple of weeks after spending a week together in California. You're going to be literally in my very village.
Yeah,
it's kind of crazy.
Unfortunately, Xander, you'll probably still be sore at that point.
That's true. I'll bring ice since you guys don't have any in Europe. I'll bring some ice for you.
There you go.
I don't know how we've got that rep. I always get ice. Always.
Bullshit.
Bullshit.
We just don't have flavor. We get ice. We just don't have flavor.
Oh man.
We don't have barbecue sauce. Not like Austin.
It's a hellhole, dude.
It's a hell.
Hellhole.
What happened to Spinal Tap 2? Did it come out or what? I mean, after
it came out, and there's more stuff coming, but stuff got messed up because of obviously what happened to Rob Reiner. I think they slowed down some of the stuff they had planned, but there's more stuff. They did a live concert at Stonehenge that's going to be coming out at some point, but everything got fucked up because of the
Rob Reiner thing. Just threw everything off. Yeah, that was really sad. What else is on the list this week? Did you guys see this Peter Thiel and Epstein email? No, not Peter Thiel. I'm sorry. Peter Thiel, as you probably know, I represent the Rothschilds. Did you guys see this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In this email?
Jeffrey Epstein was the registered agent for Ariana de Rothschild, if I'm not mistaken. So he represented that family in financial dealings for many, many years.
Interesting. I'm gonna have to follow this story more closely.
He was also part of one of those big families, Epstein himself, right? Like back in the day.
What was the bit about Epstein was somehow connected to Bob Lazar? There was like a Bob Lazar thing about Epstein this week. Did anybody catch this?
No. Yes. Nope. It's in the 15 hours of
yeah, it's somewhere. You watched it, right? What was that?
Oh, yeah. It's kind of a weird little thing.
It is weird.
The Playboy Ranch, right?
The Zorro, the Victoria's Secret
Ranch. That's right.
So yeah, Epstein had a ranch. Is it called Zorro Ranch or something officially?
Zorro Ranch.
He bought it in, I think, the early 90s, 93 or something. But yeah, it's really close to Los Alamos, and Bob
on purpose.
Yeah, purposely. Yeah, he. Who was it that said? It was in his interview, wasn't it? His last interview, where he said the reasons why he had a ranch there is because there were so many scientists nearby.
Yes.
He was picking off Los Alamos scientists.
Yeah.
To come do genetic stuff.
But yeah, Bob used to drive past it all the time. Not when he worked at Los Alamos. People have kind of tried to pick that up as like an inconsistency because he was at Los Alamos before Epstein owned the ranch. But he owned United Nuclear. He started it in 2001, I think it was. And yeah, they moved to New Mexico. And Bob had contracts with all the labs to deliver materials. So he would drive past the ranch pretty much every day because this ranch was so close to Los Alamos. So he would drive past it. He knew it was called Victoria's Secret Ranch or something. There's just a little connection. But
interesting.
Yeah.
Everybody knows everybody.
Everybody knows everybody.
For better or for worse.
I mean, on that note, if we're going to talk about, Bob talks about all the time, the gravidics aspect or whatever of his experience in Area 51/S4. If we want to talk about Epstein, we can talk about an actual concrete connection, which is if you search through the Epstein emails for Pons, P-O-N-S, Henry Pons, the guy who was researching cold fusion in the late 90s, he ended up moving over to Toyota, and Toyota was funding his research at a very high level into all the way up until like 2001 or 2002. And there's an email in which someone asks, I can't remember who it was, asks Epstein about cold fusion. He goes, "Oh, I killed that years ago. We defunded Pons' work." So
it was Epstein claiming to have killed Pons and Fleischman's breakthrough discovery of what appeared to be cold fusion. I watched that on the news as a child. I remember watching the presentation on them. They came out, they had this little thing with bubbles in it, and they were talking about how this was going to change the world. This was going to be, it was one of the first times I found myself really disillusioned as a young person. I was like, oh, I kept waiting for that to happen and change the world, and it never did.
And the person who is continuing that work is Bob Grenier through the Martin Fleischmann project on YouTube. He talks about a lot of that cold fusion stuff, and he's the one who's like honoring the legacy of a project that should have continued but didn't because of Epstein.
Well, I'd say there's a lot of other people that are pursuing that type of research too, because a lot of it is classified under what's called LENR, which is low energy nuclear reactions. Usually these are like reactions that take place in condensed matter films. I know a few people who have done extensive research in this. And in fact, one of the DIRT authors, a guy by the name of George Miley, was one of the, at University of Illinois, was one of the world specialists in this. I should know a couple of his students, and that work is ongoing, very much so, and it's starting to pop up more and more within defense circles as something that's being taken seriously.
In Japan, they're doing a lot of work too with that.
Mm-hmm. So Pons and Fleischmann had legitimate findings, right? They found the temperature of the water in their experiment went up due to the reaction of the what was it they used here? I'm looking at my fact sheet here, but I can't find that bullet point. But so what happened if it was successful in 1989 and now we're in 2026? Like, what, has no one been able to replicate their results since then, or has that been done and it's just a much more complicated next step?
Someone have the patents and killed it, or?
It's very complex. I'm not a super expert on this, so anybody in the chat who knows more than me, please don't kill me and crucify me here. But my understanding is that the experiments were not repeated at a high enough rate by other individuals when they produced these results, and they did not achieve the same results. Now, there's a lot of contention as to whether or not those experiments were performed the right way, like Pons and Fleischmann did. I don't know the answer to that, but my understanding is that as time has gone on, and people look back at the Pons and Fleischmann work, there was probably an overly negative reaction to it when there shouldn't have been, because there's a there. So it may not be exactly what they claim to have discovered, but they did something. So
it's kind of so when that story was killed, it was killed in the public relations area. It was killed as a viable story, but the data was legit.
I mean, legit, but hard to reproduce. I mean, just because it's hard to reproduce doesn't mean you can't reproduce it. They did something supposedly very difficult. I would assume other people would have difficulty reproducing that.
And to be fair, Bob Grenier, again, he studies the Hutchinson effect, and that is impossible to reproduce historically. You know, like they investigated it at SRI with Dr. Hal Puthoff and everybody, but only Mr. Hutchinson was able to replicate that himself. Nobody else was able to. Where the objects appeared to float and levitate inside of a room. And Ingo Swann was there too a lot with Hutchinson, Dr. Hal Puthoff, and they were never able to really understand what was causing that. And I think that Bob Grenier believes that it has to do with consciousness. It's really difficult to understand. I don't understand it fully when he explains it, because that's a little bit above my pay grade, to be honest with you. But that's what they say.
Interesting.
Cold
I feel
fusion
like in 2026,
kind of,
you could see some kid like doing the cold fusion experiment in the kitchen successfully, like ChatGPT and some Palladium, and I got cold fusion to work in my kitchen.
Cold fusion was really funneled into a part of scientific inquiry that was just, you just get ridiculed as soon as you start looking into it, because it was sort of, you can't do cold fusion kind of thing. So it's kind of one of those, hey, look at string theory instead. Look at that for 10 years.
Andrew, if you check out the StreamYard, I've got starting to screen share, and I've got the 2 emails pulled up, and we can cycle through those if you want.
Yeah, here it is.
Okay. Let me know when they can see it.
Yeah, it's up.
got
You
it.
can
We
go
got it.
ahead.
So this is from Jeffrey Epstein to Al Seckel. Al Seckel had messaged him. He says, well, this is the first image. I apologize. He goes, how did you kill him? Or regarding cold fusion, I killed Pons years ago. How did you kill him? There's still a group of these guys going strong. And then he replies, and I love how terrible his spelling is. The original state funding came out of Congress and Wayne Owens, senator from Utah. I was there and argued against it. I had to meet with the head of the Mormon church.
Wow.
That's
Fucking
weird.
asshole.
Who's Al Seckel?
That is a great question. Let me stop sharing my screen.
Asicle.
Asicle. Alsicle. We're gonna get Rob fired here. Sorry, Rob. This is
No, it's okay. Oh my gosh, here's the best part. He's a major skeptic. Specifically, he provided reputation management services for Jeffrey Epstein. Guy died in France in 2015, but he
reputation management.
Yeah, I mean it's like PR.
Yeah.
But
things have really gone downhill since he died.
Director of the Southern California Skeptics, which I believe is tied into the Center for Skeptical Inquiry, if I'm not mistaken.
I wonder what.
Can you imagine
Epstein
if it was
had ever heard of Lazar?
Can you imagine if it was just fucking Epstein that killed cold fusion? Like, imagine like if.
I mean, if
it weren't for
him copying to that.
If it was in fact true that he was able to do what he says he did, and he's the one who killed it, like we could have. Maybe that was the moment we split off into a shittier timeline. It's just because of that one decision where we don't have cold fusion and a super advanced society. Because I remember watching it on the news, and it was like Dan Rather, cold fusion, and these guys came out, and I wasn't that old. I was like, I'm 9 years old, but
the whole saga turned into an incredible Val Kilmer movie, The Saint. So
The Saint. That's right.
That was about him being a professional thief trying to steal cold fusion technology. So
good soundtrack too.
I want to talk
Epstein
about the Val Kilmer AI thing later, but
Zendo, say it again.
Why would Epstein want to kill cold fusion? He's not coming from a place of like knowledge on the science behind it, and therefore
I can tell you exactly why, Xander.
Great.
Because Epstein represented old money in Europe, and that old money in Europe and in America is tied into oil and conventional energy futures.
The Rothschilds.
Yeah, that's simple money.
So evil.
Yeah,
it's
so
just beyond evil.
If there's a disruptive technology that's going to kill potentially an entire industry that you draw your funding from, you go kill that technology.
And we wonder why Zero Point Energy hasn't come out, and we wonder why Element 115 remains elusive, because it's disruptive tech.
If that email is accurate, and how will we ever know? But assume it is, that's it. That's one example. Like Stephen Greer calls it the lost century. Different people say different things, but maybe Tesla had some kind of breakthrough energy thing that if we had just had that. But this is an example of someone saying, no, we knew this worked, we knew this was legitimate, and we had to kill it. But that right there in 1989 would have been a world-changing technology. Think of what we could have done if they had started working on it intensely in 1989 and then until 2026 developed that technology. I mean, God, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I'm starting to think these guys are dicks.
It's almost like they don't care about us, Dan.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like they don't care.
It's like they want us dead, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, and it's great because now the strait's open again, so we don't have to worry. We can keep consuming oil for a little bit longer.
It's open for now, for today.
Just for the day.
This is
thank you very much, Android Paranormal. I appreciate the compliment.
Yeah, that was a nice comment.
Obi-Wan Shinobi says, did anyone ever ask Matthew Brown if he was Mr. Immaculate? I never thought he was.
He's not.
I can assure you that he is not.
He is
speak
not.
with Matthew Brown on a regular basis. He's a great guy. I have not asked him that specific question, but I am almost 100% sure that the answer is no. But, I'll ask.
He's more clever than that.
Much more clever than that.
Yeah.
Did you guys see this clip of the NASA administrator, Jared Isaacman, responding to the aliens question on CNN?
No.
Seen this? Let me see if I can pull this up. This is an interesting, here we go. Share this tab. Check this out. This is an interesting.
On behalf of the millions and millions of Americans interested in space exploration, at least in part to solve the mystery of whether we are truly alone in the universe. Does the prospect of alien existence factor in at all into how we plan NASA missions?
I would say it goes to the heart of many things that we do at NASA. I mean, our job here is to go out and try and unlock the secrets of the universe. And one of those questions is, are we alone? So I would say that is inherent in every one of our scientific endeavors, our exploration endeavors. Even building the moon base on the south pole of the moon at some point will be able to incorporate telescopes that will help us continue this great search, not to mention all the subsequent telescopes that we're going to launch, like I mentioned, Nancy Grace Roman. So it's inherent in our mission.
Are we alone?
I've been to space twice. I didn't encounter any aliens up there yet. I have not seen anything to suggest that we've been visited by any intelligent life forms out there. But when you think about it, we got 2 trillion galaxies out there. Who knows how many star systems within each of it? I would say the odds that we will find something at some point to suggest that we are not alone are pretty high.
What is it with the NASA the NASA response is always so boring and so safe.
So boring, dude. Yeah, good call.
It's been the same answer for 40 years. Well, we're all, we would all love to find life out there, but gosh.
I mean, that guy's the former CEO of SpaceX, and he's a close ally of Elon Musk, who also won't.
There we go.
You might find some sort of connection there. I don't know if there's a correlation, but
gosh, how do you even? So he's a close ally of Elon Musk, and Elon Musk runs the second most important, I guess the first most important space organization. Really, they've put more satellite payload into orbit than anybody else, right? I think they have over 300,000 satellites, some enormous number.
It's not 300,000. I think currently there's roughly 8,400 Starlink units in orbit.
Only 8,400. I thought it was way more.
But I mean,
it's still a shitload.
That sounds like a fuck ton to me.
So they've launched more than that.
Sure.
Yeah. I always find because it's very similar messaging. What that guy from NASA, the former SpaceX CEO, did he say, or high up or whatever? Very similar messaging to the kind of thing that Elon does, where they kind
My
of.
number was way off, by the way. I'm sorry. SpaceX has launched 11.5 thousand total Starlink satellites since 2019, with over 10,000 of them currently still in orbit.
Over 10,000 currently still in orbit. That's amazing.
Too many.
Yeah, it's very similar messaging, but it's. I've always wondered, why would it be necessary for a lot of UFOs or even aliens or anything like that to just be hanging out in Earth orbit? It's kind of a bit like a bunch of humans going to the outskirts of town and just hanging out there for no reason. Like the shit's happening in the town. Like,
what do you do in your town, Xander?
they come to town. They don't just arrive and then hang out on the outskirts. If you've traveled all this way, who's to even say that? I mean, it's unlikely they're even getting here in a linear fashion. They might not even have to go through orbit to get here.
They also might be able to. Good.
Part of the issue is the way the questions are framed. The question is it's always some softball, easily dodged question. Are we alone? Well, there are billions and billions of galaxies and billions and they give the same watered down answer that means nothing. And the question should be, how much hardware does NASA have that is photographing the surface of the Earth at any given time? How many weather satellites? What resolution photographs? Because this group of people over here, whistleblowers, are saying there are all kinds of things coming and going. Present some other evidence and then ask the guy to respond to it a little bit more pointedly. It's so generic and weak.
It's also on the job of the people asking the questions. Like you said, it's such a broad, simpleton question. Like, ask a detailed question.
Well, let me just speak to that really quickly.
Please.
From my perspective, I get what's happening. What you're seeing there is people not wanting to ruin their ability to get access. So you don't ask a hard question that might burn somebody from wanting to deal with you. This is how you extend your access, and this is how you make sure that you are able to go back and get more clips of this person, more interviews with this person, instead of you developing a reputation as a news agency for being a hostile environment that people are going to walk into. You can, from our perspective here at Reality Check, there's only certain times in which you can really drill down on people, and that's something that Ross loves to do. So I think we as a small team have a different approach to that, because we will ask those hard questions, but not everyone at the senior broadcast level is willing to do so, because access is everything.
Access is everything.
But there's ways to ask really difficult questions in respectful ways. You know,
absolutely,
that's the trick.
Well,
until there's times to be tough.
Chris Mellon put out a video on the YouTube channel for Disclosure Foundation. I think it was a couple months ago. This was a while back, probably about 4 or 5 months ago. And in that video, though, he made a really great point, and he said, we need to call in Air Force brass. They need to explain what is the hardware we have. We should have high resolution photos and video of everything moving on the surface of this planet, especially craft coming and going. Like, we have satellites pointed out into space. We have satellites pointed back at Earth. Like, we need to get these guys under oath and then hold them to some kind of questioning standard that actually leads us somewhere, instead of just
hold them
softballing
to
it.
a questioning standard wherein you ask them a question that has a definitive answer that you already know the answer to. And then you have them perjure themselves. That's when you can hold them in contempt. That's one of the things actually that Matt Gaetz was good at, and that's part of why they got that testimony from those pilots when they went down to Eglin Air Force Base. Is because Gaetz threatened to, put people under oath, subpoena them, put them under oath, and then ask them specific questions they didn't have the answer to. And he told them specifically that at some point during your testimony, if I put you under oath, you are going to mess up and you are going to perjure yourself in a way that is going to be ruinous for your career. So you can either do that, you can go that route, or you can come back to us with those pilots and let us debrief them.
What was the result of that?
They got the pilots.
They got the pilots.
Yeah.
And is this the briefing that now this is separate from what he said very recently.
This is way back when.
Oh, this is the one with the gun camera that had supposedly seen images. Yes. But recently, and not to sidebar that, but just because you mentioned Matt Gaetz, he just came back up in the news a few days ago, or maybe a week or two ago, about this alien hybrid breeding program thing. Do you think there's anything to that?
No, absolutely not.
No.
Matt Gaetz spoke to someone who I believe to be an E4 at Eglin Air Force Base. This is an enlisted personnel. You could enlist, depending on your test, you could be an E4 within 6 months of you enlisting as a result of ending your initial basic school.
Note to self.
That's what I had. I got E5 out of school. So
I'm going to get in on this Iran thing while it's still hot.
I mean, get away you can. You'd be one of the few that want to go. Anyways, he spoke to an E4 on Eglin Air Force Base who said that he believed that this program existed. That's very different. It's not something I would ever characterize as a briefing, first of all. And it's certainly not in any official capacity was this person's knowledge of said things. So, I mean, that's the equivalent of me talking to my conspiracy theory buddy at work and him saying to me, yeah, well, they're breeding with us. Well, all right, bro.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you go like, oh, I was briefed about it.
Right. That's it. You go from that to I had beers with my buddy at the bar to telling me, and where my buddy told me about his dog being from space. And then I show up on this podcast and I say, I was briefed on canines from space being an official government program.
Sounds like a Gaia TV episode.
Yeah. It's called
the old Daddy Greer debrief.
Daddy Greer
Interstellar Cocker Spaniels, the best.
Right.
Has there been news on Stephen Greer? What's Stephen Greer up to this week? Anybody got any news on Stephen?
Well, I mean, he was spotted with Demi Lovato. Backstage.
There we go.
Yep.
That's right.
At her show
That's
in DC. And then a couple weeks from now, he's going to be holding an event at the National Press Club on May 9th, where he's going to be displaying the Boogosphere.
Are you going?
Attending. Yeah, me and some friends.
Nice, man.
You're going to see the Boogosphere. Will you be able to approach the sphere, or will this be shown?
I intend to attempt to grasp it.
Grasp.
I'm just kidding. They probably kick me out. But no, I'm going to get as close to it as I can. So
I feel like if you are going to produce that sphere publicly, you need to let people touch it. People
I
need
agree.
to know.
I mean, if you ask Timothy Alberino held it, and that actually killed his willingness to even move forward with the story ever again, because he claims that it feels, looks, and seems handcrafted, and is almost certainly a hydrazine tank. So.
Yeah, it doesn't look like anything special to me. I would not go out of my way to buy a plane ticket to go see it. I don't know what it is that Stephen Greer finds so fascinating about it. Like even the carbon dating, they carbon dated the resin from inside a groove or a little piece of the metal that had been cut out, I guess. And they said that was what was carbon dated, not the actual
You can't
sphere
carbon
itself.
date metal, right?
Right. The whole thing just seems odd.
No.
Super weird. I'm not all in on the Boogosphere.
Neither am I.
No, afraid not.
But I know what Stephen Greer sees in it.
Oh,
money.
Yeah,
the entry fee.
Yeah.
The entry fee. What is the entry fee? Do we know?
$50.
I mean,
$50
if we're being honest, he probably already paid Jaime to take it to DC.
Yes,
right?
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
What do we think about? Isn't Lou Elizondo's tour coming up? Is he going to be?
Yeah, he's going to be here in DC, and I'm going to see him the night before I see Greer.
And what are the tickets for Lou's show?
I actually don't know the answer to that. I need to go out and buy one, or just contact somebody and see if he'll let me in.
Oh, you don't get on a press pass kind of a thing?
No, that's what I'm saying. Is I might contact somebody and see if he'll let me in as a member of the press. So,
what is the general sense among this group here and people at home in the chat? If you're watching, thanks for watching and participating in our chat. Do me a favor and hit the like button. We're kind of at the halfway point of the show. And we're up to almost 1,000 in here. So if you hit that like button a few more times, we'll get there. What is your guys' sense of the rightness or wrongness of doing a speaking tour, charging tickets, saying, I'm going to tell you the secrets of this program, but you got to pay? And, is that everybody's got a right to make a living, but does that damage his credibility? Lou, Stephen?
I mean, during that, has he ever claimed to, like, on the tour, is he claiming to be revealing secrets or anything like that? I don't believe that he is.
Nope.
I think it's just a speaking tour in order to talk to people about the subject. And I don't really have a major problem with it because he's not claiming to be divulging new information or secret information that's not available anywhere else.
There's no paywall to truth here.
Right, right. So, I mean, while, people have had a lot of criticisms of Lou, and I have my own criticisms of Elizondo and his role within disclosure, which I won't get into at the moment. But, in terms of his speaking tour, I don't see anything wrong with it. He's making a buck. He's doing his thing. It's whatever. You're going there and you're the one that decides to go and click the thing to buy the ticket.
Right.
So
100%. I mean, I have the same concerns that you do too, but he has every right to make a living. And also we need to remember that Lou has given, I feel like 150 hours of free podcast interviews where he's said a lot and let a lot out. So if he wants to go tour and say the same stuff, some people want to see that, just want to see those things be said with their own eyes and ears in person. There's no problem with that.
To add to your point, whatever my negative thoughts might be about Elizondo, and in regards to like other aspects of his history, I won't be the person that says that he's done nothing for the subject, because that's false.
Mm-hmm.
False.
So
Completely false.
Oh, well, he was the first really to explode onto the podcast scene and start talking to everybody.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it, Clint? How do you feel about the tour?
I don't mind the tour at all. I think, look, it's a tough gig to do. I mean, if you're trying to figure out how to make a living in UFOs, God bless you. Like I'm trying to figure it out. We all are to some degree. I mean,
Rob Jones
all of us are trying to figure it out.
Well, huh?
I said not all of us are trying to figure it out.
Not all of us are trying to figure. That's true. So I get it though. I mean, like,
a ufologist with a pension. Now that's endgame.
Endgame.
That is endgame.
You better get business cards before contact, by the way.
I actually have business cards that are coming in like 2 days. So
good.
How many News Nation people will be at Contact? Are you're coming, but are there going to be others?
I'm coming. I don't know if Megan is going to be able to make it. She wants to come. And I don't believe Ross is attending Contact this year. So it's probably just going to be me and Megan from Reality Check. And that's it.
Tell us about this new show that you and Megan are going to be working on. You mentioned it in the
room. So we realized that a lot of the things that we get sent through our Reality Check email, which is I'll give those to Xander. We can like throw them down below if anybody ever wants to send us tips or anything. I don't remember the addresses off the top of my head, but we found that a lot of what we're getting is also compelling videos, experience or testimony, things like that. Which isn't exactly within Ross's wheelhouse for what he wants to approach on Reality Check. So we thought to ourselves, let's build an avenue for that. Let's build a forum for all of that stuff for us to be able to bring experiencers on, to bring people on that have witnessed things that they can't explain, to talk about the paranormal, and really just to like kind of have a good time. It's going to be called Reality Check Unreported with Megan Medic. And I'll be a regular contributor on the show as well. And that's going to be our fun pastime for when we want to go out and get human with it, and really talk about people's experiences and what they've gone through, as well as just, having a good time.
News Nation has done tremendous work in this area, and to such a degree that even I myself am guilty of being suspicious of how they do it. Or what's behind it. I'm like, how are these guys?
So it's funny because we have such a small team of people that work on this. I think that within the company, there are probably 6 or 7 people total that are really kind of tapped in on the UFO subject. But we are lucky enough that our senior VP of programming, I believe that's his title. I'm going to feel really bad if I get this wrong. Michael Korn, who used to be the senior executive producer for Good Morning America for about 10, 15 years. He sees a lot of value in what we do and our coverage. A lot of what we do gets echoed in our regular, evening broadcasts. We do generate news items, real news items that they can use and they can run with. So we're seen as a value add to the company, thankfully. So, it's really just us on Reality Check that are into the subject, plus one of our digital content writers, who I don't want to name. And then a few other people like Joe Khalil he's gotten pulled into the subject as well, just through interviews that he's done. So he's kind of tapped in too.
I mean, just to the point that on their homepage, newsnationnow.com, under the heading for space, you have one link and it's just UFOs. Like, nice. You guys were on it.
If you click on that, what article comes up?
Let's click on it.
Oh, there we go. There we go.
This is what we just talked about. Yep.
Well, hopefully they have enough fuel to get you back.
Who wrote that top article, by the way?
This one is Nancy Liu.
Okay, yeah, that's Nancy who spoke with Richard over the phone, if I'm not mistaken. So, but yeah, I mean, you can see that there's a real interest in the company on this. A lot of those stories aren't necessarily stuff that we write, but we care. Like, it's a real thing. People care, so we care.
I guess I'm looking for your sense of how far this has come from, say, 2017 or 2016 even. I mean, it seems to me like we've gone fully mainstream now, right? Like because it's not just you and Ross and Megan. It's I see Cuomo talk about it. Elizabeth Vargas is talking. Your anchors are talking about it.
Mainstream subject now.
It's gone fully mainstream, right?
Yeah. Nobody freaks out when I bring this up to them ever.
So are we officially, can we just put this to bed? We've crossed the Rubicon here. Like we are on the other side of this. Like UFOs are a mainstream thing now. This is real.
Absolutely.
UFOs as a real subject because they've been mainstream for decades,
Yeah. That's what I mean.
Not a niche subject by any means.
Yeah.
So now we're
be
in
asked
the phase
about it in the UK as well, which
Mission
we were always a little
accomplished.
bit behind.
Wow.
Yeah. Somebody throw up the banner on the aircraft carrier, please.
Applause
on the TR-3B. That's amazing. Wow. So we did it, guys. Congratulations. That's phase 1 complete.
It is pretty awesome.
Check.
I mean, for real, that's a big thing. That's a big thing.
We joke about it a little bit internally as just friends among, friends talking about whatever on chats, but it's like when you look out at this landscape of who is in ufology in general, there's like a generation of people that are in their 50s and 60s and 70s now, and then there's whatever it is that we do. I guess I don't even know how you would even classify it. There's podcasters. We know most of them. If not personally, then through association with one another, we're pretty much all connected to some degree, and it's astonishing how much it's grown. Like how many people are in this space talking about it. You've got a Spielberg movie coming out. I mean, it's as front page as it can be. Imagine how much bigger it would be if we weren't, at war in Iran this week.
I think the Spielberg movie has a great chance. Not just, I don't think there's going to be like some crazy information reveal in the movie. Let me be clear. I don't think he's going to serve up any secrets. But Steven Spielberg is an incredible storyteller, and he can invoke emotions in people. That's basically your job as a director, and people will take it more seriously if they simply care about the movie, because it was a fantastic movie. Like that's what my big hope is, that like I know nothing about the storyline. I know there's some sort of psionic stuff in it. It's got Colin Firth in it. It's full of Brits as well, like the movie as well.
The cast is so stacked. You've got Coleman Domingo, Emily Blunt, Colin Firth. Gosh.
Got a great chance to really latch on to people's imagination more than necessarily a demand. Like, this isn't going to produce demands from the government immediately, but it's going to maybe get people to ask people like us, like, how much of that movie actually ties into what you know. Like that's kind of what I'm hoping for.
In popular culture, disclosure is kind of done, I think. Like, you know what I mean? Like with people, the average person, if you ask 9 out of 10 people on the street, will be like, oh yeah, they're here. We've got something.
Yeah, there's only 2 more steps to disclosure that we're really waiting for. We're waiting for an official high-level government admission of long-standing, waived, unacknowledged special access programs regarding crash retrieval. And then the other step is arrival, contact.
Also, I mean, you mentioned an announcement. I would take that from any country, by the way. I'll take it from China. I'll take it from Russia. I'll take it from the U.S. I would prefer it to be here, but
there's a couple countries I might not take it seriously from, but yeah.
Okay.
But if the Prime Minister of Japan came out and said,
oh, very much, I would take that seriously.
They're taking it very seriously in Japan right now. Jesse Michaels was just there speaking. They have a task force in their parliament, right, assigned to this.
Yeah, he was there with the former defense minister. He was photographed, and that other politician that is very pro UFOs.
Yeah, he interviewed Asakawa-san, who's a really nice guy. I met him at Seoul 2 years ago. They're very much serious about the subject over there. So.
I wonder, Xander, to your point, the hearts and minds aspect of all this. Spielberg is such a great strategic choice. If you did want to plant, I think it might have been Ramsey who suggested maybe, what if there was just, in passing, he kind of said, what if they just put a little clip in there of something that's real, like 10 seconds of something, of an interview, maybe with an alien. Remember way back years and years ago, John Lear on George Knapp's show, he was like, there's a video of an interview. It's going to be coming out. I have it on good authority. Friend of mine in the CIA gave me this video. George.
Good Lear, by the way. Good Lear.
He inspired Jon Stewart's entire second half to his life.
How's John? Did he make that documentary? Did that come out?
I really hope to meet Uncle John at Contact in the Desert. I want to buy that guy a beer. I don't necessarily want to participate in any of his content, but man, I find him compelling and interesting, and I would love to talk wrestling with him.
John's fun. I would like to talk wrestling. He
smells great. I reckon he smells. I reckon he wears a good aftershave.
I'm on board with the alien interview. I'm on board. I have been from the moment I saw it.
Just 5 seconds of a clip. Well. I mean, yeah, you know that they document everything. They have to, right? They must. Have you guys seen? I went down the Eyes on Cinema rabbit hole the other day, and there's this fucking crazy clip, and it's a deep cut, but it's the guy who claimed to be an a security sentry at S4.
Is this the guy wearing the red hat?
I don't remember if he's wearing a red hat, but he's got a blue and white.
Sort of blondish, right?
They're sitting out in the desert.
Yeah, and there's like scrub brush all around them.
And he says he's basically a SEAL. He's a former SEAL. He worked a sentry post in the base. He's like, look, I didn't see a lot, but this is what I did see. This is my little area. Sometimes I would escort people from here to here. And he's like, I was only allowed to go down certain floors. But he describes seeing on one of the floors, he's like, I just saw one time. I only saw it once. It's like these tubes of fluid that had these identical gray little beings in them. And there were like 30 of them up against a wall. And they were just all floating. And he sketches it out. He's like, this is what I saw. I don't know, and he's just going through. It was the coolest interview, but the sound sucks. And you have to really like listen to it. But do you guys have a favorite Eyes on Cinema video?
I love their abduction stuff. They have some of the best civilian abduction stories ever. Them and sightings have the best.
Stanton Friedman pieces that they have. Like, I didn't get into this very recently, or like I didn't get into this a long time ago. So there's a lot of like people whose shoulders that I kind of stand on now that they're are in those archives that I go back and I find it. I'm like, oh wow, these guys had a really good hold on it way back then. Like, we're not that much farther ahead, except for the government admits apart.
Did you ever, Rob, have any? Did you ever look at Bob? Is it Bob Exler? Is that how you say his name?
Yeah, Bob Exler.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever look into his whole story?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I don't know whether or not I believe everything that Bob thinks that he uncovered, but I will say that Bob's story and Bob's notes are a really good basis for getting into the subject. There's a guy, Daniel Elizondo, and another guy that goes by the name, I can't remember his name, but they wrote this massive document that's referred to as Loose Threads. If you just search Loose Threads UFO document online, that is the place for anybody who is a serious evidence-based researcher to try and start. It's like a 400-page document, and it goes all the way back to like 400 probably too many, but like it goes all the way back to the days of like the Advanced Propulsion or Advanced Theoretical Propulsion Working Group held in the BDM offices in Northern Virginia in the late 80s with Oak Shannon and a few others. And they trace from there all the way into the modern era. They go into and discuss all kinds of, electromagnetic pulse evidence about like shoot downs and things like that. Great document. Highly recommend. Bob Oxler is one of the primary sources on that document too, to my understanding. So,
Loose Threads on Medium, right? This is the one, Omega Point.
Yep, that's him.
Is that the one?
That's the voice.
Yeah,
so,
I got it right here. Let me see.
It's a gigantic PDF when you download it. So
here we go. Loose Threads. This for people who are looking for this. Medium, omega.point.medium.com/loose threads. Interesting. Yeah, Bob's story. I was watching this clip of him this morning, and he was saying things back in, I don't know what year this was. It looks like it could have been 1992 or 3, somewhere around there. But he's saying, here we go. Just for people who don't know, Bob Exler.
Find thousands of U.S. government documents from intelligence agencies that tended to indicate that there was a little bit more to this than met the eye. So I went to seek guidance from the various highest levels of the United States intelligence community, and I was quite alarmed at what I was able to learn.
Now we are, in this report that we're now going to show, we're going to hear a conversation featuring you. Tell me the context of that conversation.
Well, I had contacted Admiral Bobby Ray Inman, who was the head of the National Security Agency in the United States, Deputy Director at CIA, Director of Naval Intelligence, and a variety of intelligence posts, a technologist, and clearly someone that if this was really accurate, that there really were UFOs and non-human intelligence around, this is a man who had to know. So I was able to contact him thanks to a contact through Admiral Lord Hill Norton here in the UK. And this conversation, he alarmingly not only indicated that these issues were covered under national secrecy laws, but that the United States government did in fact have possession of the hardware associated with this. In other words, this was an actual physical phenomenon. As
a craft, a spaceship.
Several of them, and they were in operational condition, which I assume suggested that they had been in contact, that they had been given these craft for some reason or another, because they certainly weren't crashed vehicles.
Do you anticipate?
That's the main thing there. But this is, I don't know how old this is, what year this is from, but it's certainly from more than 20 years ago. And even then, he was like, yeah, we had a dozen or more of these crafts. That's what Bob said back in 1989, possibly gifted. Some of this stuff, it feels like it's new information because we've heard it recently, but it's actually.
And that number is not much lower than what Hal said on Rogan. Didn't Hal say 13 or so?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's much more than that, but
yeah. Well, when you're talking about like craft, they start using language like that. I do think that number is probably like more accurate, like what Mellon said, if I'm not mistaken. But in terms of like material, there's more material than that are like parts, is my understanding. There's a lot of parts that are floating around.
Oh, like bits and pieces that are farmed out to different locations for different things. Yeah.
We recovered UAP craft. Okay, some of it's crashed. Not very many of them crashed. Most of them have been intact. I won't give the exact number is classified, but I won't give you the exact number. It's south of 40, and they all are in the United States. We have a few in the United States. We've got a few in foreign countries. I'm not at liberty to say which countries they are, but I can tell you that the majority, roughly 2/3 of them were recovered from the maritime environment, not on land. So Bush told me that the essence is, the liaison officer said, that the U.S. government had been in contact with aliens from another world. Their craft that they travel in are the UFO craft that we've been seeing throughout all of human history. And Bush wanted to see the film. And he said, I'd like to see that film. Can you arrange for it? And the liaison officer said, I'm sorry, Mr. Director, you don't have the need to know to see that film.
George Bush didn't have clearance to see the film.
Now, was that when he was president, or is it when he was director of the CIA?
I would think either one. It wouldn't matter. Like if you're George Bush, I think that you kind of live outside of that, don't you?
I think he had a better chance seeing it as a CIA director than he would as president.
I agree.
But I'm just thinking like George Bush's family lineage, skull and bones, like this guy also exists at a dimension outside of the world of normal politics and has probably a whole different chain of command to it, a whole different thing. That's why I'm interested about like his son must have asked at some point, Dad, what do you think?
Well, let me push back on the CIA director point, because I believe he was CIA director at the time, but I don't think that CIA director as a necessity would even have need to know of that. And specifically because we know that supposedly all of this is controlled at some sort of mid to upper level. And the directorship is that's a political appointed position.
That's
so
true.
They wouldn't want to give that person, regardless of who got the position, right? Most cases, they wouldn't want to give that person need to know for a lot of these things, because it's a transient position. They're going to be gone in 3 to 4 years at most. And you're going to have another one who's going to be equally unknowing about all of your secret doings. And if they were going to sit down and get read in for every program, it would take like half of their term.
Mm-hmm.
What
I don't think there's
fair, but at the same time, you kind of have to go, well, yeah, but we also can't have unelected, unaccountable bureaucrats just running this forever. Sooner or later, it's got to come under some kind of other oversight.
They seem to be doing a pretty good job now of avoiding that. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Right.
I don't think there's an official position in anywhere that's like, oh, he is now in that position, therefore we need to tell him everything. I think it's probably every single person is just a case-by-case basis.
Also,
if they think
Department of Defense reorganizations happen all the time. You can just shift the authority to a different position. Any number of reorgs happen with just about every administration. So it's so nebulous that a lot of people, like, my understanding is a lot of these senior people are multiple hat wearers. Like these are people that have like 4, 5, 6, 7 different roles. And so they use all of their different roles in order to affect in various ways the programs they need to affect.
So it's not one title, not one title gets you all the UFO stuff. And especially one title, and different titles get you different access to different parts of the programs.
Right.
Yeah.
So is it your sense, Rob, that there is a top-down command structure pyramid with some individual or small group at the top, or is this more of a situation where, overseeing this massive program that spreads out through industry and across, whatever, or are we looking at something more akin to a collection, a consortium of various corporate interests that probably meet in a group of 12 to 25 people, maybe like a board, and make decisions in a smoky room? Or is it more, I don't know, like how does this organize itself from your vantage point?
I don't truly know the answer to that. I believe that there is some form of control group, but I'm gonna give you a little bit of a different paradigm to think of here, Clint. We've talked on this podcast, I think, a little bit about factionality, or at least we did on Gerb's channel at one point. We talked about factionality and how there are different umbrella sets of programs that all sort of concern this. We believe that certain individuals are running program protection through their media appearances for one umbrella set of programs. Won't name names there, but
who could it be?
Yeah, who could that be? But when it comes down to it, I believe personally that there are multiple sets of authority that control different portions of programs. I think that there's a subset that has gone private that's now barely accountable to anybody. How far advanced are they? The hell if I know. But I think that it's sort of a por qué no los dos situation. Like, we can have multiple different structures, and many of them may actually be in opposition to each other because they have different views of what their role is, what their oaths mean, and what their duty is to the American people.
So conceivably, you could have you could have a disjointed disclosure where one party discloses something, but other parties don't disclose what they know, and you have like partial information.
Or they're actively battling to make sure that the other party doesn't disclose, which I believe is taking place in a variety of situations.
That the other party doesn't disclose?
Right. So when we talk about like these factions within the legacy program, we know based on Jake Barber's testimony that, certain portions of the legacy program do want to disclose. I mean, even, people like Elizondo have mentioned that too, that like there's good people in these programs that want to disclose. That definition of disclosure, like I said, is different things to different people. Some people are full kimono, like Dave Brush describes. I'm a full kimono guy. You got to go full kimono and open it all up to the people and let proper oversight reign for us to get back into a proper state of our society. That's my opinion. It is the opinion of other individuals who are probably more national security minded and probably more senior in the national security apparatus, I'll say that, that a more limited hangout or limited disclosure is prudent. I'll leave that up for the viewer to decide where they stand, but I'm a kimono guy. So.
Something that that lines up with the idea that there are multiple pyramids, in effect, multiple pyramids, is what Lukatsky said a couple of weeks ago, because he said nobody has this right. There's a lot of different people with a lot of different opinions. And a few of them are really sure they have it correct, but at the end of the day, none of them are really. They're very careful with what they're sharing with each other. The people at the top of these multiple pyramids. So the briefing that Trump may have had will be from a very particular angle of disclosure. And if it's people that do want to provide disclosure, like, you've got to wonder what their motivation is specifically, because ultimately revealing their information could work against them in terms of, again, when the context of other legacy programs gets revealed eventually, like there is in many ways a bit of a battlefield of information going on.
And I mean, there's an article from L'Espresso too, from last year, I believe, that came out of left field, and we have Burleson on record saying that he was told the president was briefed about these topics, specifically about like races and like hybrid breeding programs and all that stuff. He did say that, and even the president made a joke about another politician being one of those. So I don't know how serious he's taking this topic specifically, because we can joke all we want about Matt Gaetz, but who told the president about that?
Stephen Greer.
I don't think Trump gives a fuck.
The
I don't think
president
he gives a fuck about it.
I agree, but somebody did tell him.
I don't think Trump is. I don't know that he doesn't care about it, but I think that in terms of like his list of things he's concerned about right now, it's probably very low on his list.
I mean, he said multiple times on camera that he doesn't believe in it. He doesn't believe it, but like he's talked to some really cool pilots, handsome guys who say they're real. Like he's on record multiple times saying that he doesn't buy it.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, I just think there's no upside to disclosing anything for anybody. Like, I unless you've got a patent or you are in a position to make a ton of money off of letting something out. But I don't see any scenario where the only one I could see is a situation so bad that you need to drop a media bomb. So this is an atomic media bomb. If you were to come out as the president and disclose anything, that would stop the world for at least 48 hours.
One advantage to disclosing, though, is we hear so many people talk about the compartmentalization keeps progress from happening because people can't collaborate. So if there was some kind of proper open disclosure, all those groups could maybe actually work together to make a lot more progress. So it might actually do a lot once we have it.
I wonder if other countries like Japan have their own discs, or if they automatically have some deal where they turn them over to us, or maybe we have allied, partners that don't turn over everything they get to us. And does that ever happen? We must know where it goes. I'm sure we're tracking it to some degree.
Sure.
I don't think we let people keep things from us.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah. Okay. So you don't.
I don't think we allow that. I think when we see something, we either go and get it wherever it is. That's what the Office of Global Access is for.
Yep.
Or we deal with that partner or allied nation in a way that says, look, you're going to give that to us, whether you like it or not. We're going to send our people down there and get it. Otherwise, things are going to get real weird.
Super weird. The discombobulator is going to come out.
I have a question for the panel. Around.
Yeah.
I have a question. That alien or aliens.gov website, it was dead a few days ago. Now it appears as site not found. Does that mean anything? Because somebody on X is saying that means that there's something in there. This guy Skywatch Signal, and somebody below put up like some kind of a code that they're looking at, and they say that something is coming online very soon.
Well, if you click aliens.gov, it does just open up to this.
Yeah, I don't want to go. I don't want to bypass that just yet.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, me neither.
That's all it does.
That's why I was like, can we verify this? But it's a little bit difficult.
But the premise here is what, that they've moved it out of idle status and they're doing something, some activity.
That there's something already up there, but they're not making it public yet. That's what it means. That's what they're alluding to.
Aliens.
I mean, it's going to be something eventually.
Maybe it's where we pre-order the coins.
Yeah.
I think that actually makes sense.
That's probably it.
I'm only half kidding. Yeah.
I know. Aliens.
Now it'll be even better if it's like a crypto coin.
Yeah. No kidding.
Yeah.
Hey, can I get you to react to a really weird press release, Rob? Have you seen this TAE Technologies Trump media thing? Do you know this?
Oh man, fuck yeah.
Yeah, this was that weird merger that took place where Trump Media merged with like an upstart fusion company.
In a $6 billion deal.
Right. I want to try and refrain from political opinions as much as I can. But what I will say is that it looks to me like, let me give you an example. There was a news item that came out recently. You know about the company Allbirds?
Yes.
Okay. Allbirds failed shoe startup. Okay. They were bleeding money. So what did they do? and dumped their stock by making a flip to an AI, a flip from being a shoe company to being an AI hyperscaler company, which, oh yeah, those things go hand in hand. You absolutely have the personnel and the business expertise to do that, which they got domestic investors, like retail investors, to pump their stock up. They went up 300%. I'm fairly sure a number of their employees probably took their exits at that point, at that higher level of liquidity, and then used that liquidity for themselves. And now they're down 600% down from where they originally started, like 2 days later. There was
that might be the Trump media move. Maybe.
Well, I mean, I would tell you that one of the ways that places like venture, like a private equity firm, right? Like, say you're a private equity firm that deals with the defense industry. When you deal with the defense industry, a lot of your contracts get locked in over a long period of time. You don't necessarily make a gigantic amount off of those contracts themselves sometimes, although most of the time you do. But there are certain private equity firms that they take companies private. They buy public companies, right? They take the company private. They spin off various divisions into like single standalone divisions that they can take private or they can take public in an IPO, and they reap their benefits off of the IPO and then sell the other divisions off to other companies like that want them or they want the IP. This was something that was popularized in the 1980s by certain companies in the public sector. But it's being done in the defense sector too. And you make your money on the IPO. Like when the stock jumps up and you have all these like retail investors and institutional investors that want to jump in on a company that was formerly private, now being public, that's where your money comes. You exit your liquidity, you sell the company, you're good to go. So just something to think about. That's a way to make money.
That is a way that money is made. Interesting point too. Yeah, it was just such a weird story. I saw it and I thought, gosh, what could this possibly mean?
Yeah, as I Hate God 99 said in chat, it looks like fraud. It does look like it. It does smell like it. It even, sounds a little bit like it too, but it depends on who your lawyer is.
Well, it says it was a $6 billion deal. This happened on December 18th last year. Shareholders each company own 50% of the combined company on a fully diluted equity basis. Devin Nunes is a CEO, along with Michael Binderbauer, TAE CEO and director. Michael B. Schwab, founder and managing director of Big Sky Partners, is expected to be named chairman of a 9-member board of direction.
Right, but I would dive deeper on this. Like, who are their actual employees? Do they have actual employees aside from that supposed board that they're planned? They have a planned board. They don't even have a seated board.
Right.
So what are these people done other than prop up a stock is my main question.
Yeah, it's a good question. It says founded in 1998. TAE's next phase focuses on deploying commercial.
I'd be totally wrong, so.
I don't know. I haven't looked into it. I just glancing at their website, a cursory glance, it looks like a very nicely put together website. They spent some money on it. It's got some cool media.
Yeah.
I mean, it definitely looks like a pro website, but it gives the impression that they are on the cusp of some kind of fusion solution that they are going to be able to deploy, and that this positions them this puts them in a good position to get approval on permitting, which is interesting. If you're going to IPO a stock,
I'll have to talk to my fusion guy about this and see what he thinks.
I love that you have a fusion guy.
A fusion guy. It comes with the job. You get one. Everyone at News Nation gets a fusion guy as soon as you.
Who's your fusion guy? It's Barry. Barry.
Oh, he does good work.
Barry's good.
Did anybody else notice in that in the Eric Davis clip just then as well, he again says most of the recoveries are maritime recoveries. After the last week of Bob Lazar content, I can't help but point out that in '89, when Lazar came out, he said he was being employed by the Department of Naval Intelligence, and everybody was like, why on earth would the Navy be in on this? And here we are literally 40 years later, And now basically we're thinking the Navy kind of runs the show, like gets its like they're the guys that allegedly got hold of this stuff first.
And the Air Force seemingly is heavily involved, but they just don't say a word about
hold
it
on.
ever.
Somebody in the chat is calling me on my bluff. They think it's a News Nation background.
Oh, it's real, guys. That's not AI.
Don't make our boy flex, man. Come on.
Wait, is News Nation live right now? Because you could just nip over to the
24 hours. Yeah, 24 hours a day.
Yeah, just nip over and just wave on the channel.
Statement. Show them the bank statement. Show them your check.
Yeah. We do not interrupt in process broadcasts for any reason whatsoever.
But this guy's called you out, man.
Yeah,
it's important.
That's cool. Yeah. What's the
virtual reality now? My bad.
Pavel, what's this post on? Sorry, I just want to ask Pavel this question because you brought this up earlier. There's a post of this Brazilian colonel.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, so you guys remember the Colares incident from '77? How Colonel Holanda gave an interview in 1997, and then 3 months later he appeared dead. He hung himself apparently. Well, nothing like that from a military official had ever happened after that, for obvious reasons. And then like a month ago, this guy retired, and then he just started talking about encounters that they had in 2008. And he's talking about close encounters of the third kind. It's like not just UFO sightings. And this is from Ronnie Vernet, the Brazilian UFO researcher who's well known in Latin America. And it has subtitles, so you might want to play that.
Let's see here.
Quase 20 anos, mas é fato. Infelizmente ou infelizmente, não somos as únicas espécies inteligentes a caminharmos sobre o solo terreno, pois presenciamos e estivemos frente a frente por visitantes desconhecidos da espécie humana nas áreas urbana e rural do município de Cláudio. Ninguém os contou, mas sigam aos rios. Dessas pessoas, dezenas de pessoas, que o pessoal tem visto aí, tantos militares falando, no YouTube, tantas pessoas civis, é verdade.
I feel like someone should read that in case someone's watching on their phone.
Yeah, I'll read it here. It says, I turned the volume off. I'm just playing back. If you're listening, we're watching the video through, and he says, it happened almost 20 years ago, but it is a fact. Unfortunately or fortunately, we are not the only intelligent species to walk on the Earth's soil, as we witnessed and came face to face with visitors unknown to the human species in the urban and rural areas of the municipality of Claudio. No one told us, we saw it. Several people, dozens of people, what people have seen there, so many military talking on YouTube and so many civilian people is true.
And to be specific, these are light beings that they're seeing. That's how they're reporting them, as light beings. Very similar to, as you guys know, the Chris Bledsoe story, which is very similar to that. And also all the sightings that have happened. I think that Dan Cleary and I are going to do eventually a full episode on the Maget case from 2020. Because when it was happening in real time, I saw the videos being taken down on Twitter, and I was like, why is this happening? Like multiple UFO videos were getting uploaded and taken down immediately. Like I was refreshing the page because I was like, holy crap, this is like an invasion or something. And then I saw that, and then I saw that video where the alleged crash, and there were shootings and all that. There were like gunshots that were heard in the distance. So who knows what the hell happened with
and in that, there's stories of beings like killing military personnel, like in like a firefight in the woods.
Yeah.
In the forest in Maget, Brazil. It's a fascinating story.
Yeah.
What was they said in was it Operation Plato, or what was it?
Prato. Saucer.
Prato. Is that's the same one you're talking about?
That one is Colares from 77.
Colares, that's right. And in that one, in Lou Elizondo's book, he talks about that one, and he said that some of the people reported seeing like a ball of light, but it had like a window in the front of it, and they could look inside and see people inside looking at them. And he was like, these things would come into your house and they would point at people, and they were like laughing. They were he said it was a really weird excerpt. He was like, these people reported these things came into their house and were like looking at how scared they were and freaking out. And it almost looked like they were enjoying it. And they were reacting to this. And I thought that was the weirdest. I'd never heard anything like that. But the light beings thing you just said, and Chris Bledsoe, he said, we're going to see what's inside these orbs. If that happens, we'll see later this year. But
pretty wild, right?
Hecklers.
It's wild.
It is.
Yeah, it is very, very wild.
I like this idea that we're a truck stop more than a fishbowl. And that's why there's just so many weird things. It's more like just whoever stops in the neighborhood and whatever they're doing that day.
Dude, we're Jerry Springer for the universe.
It's almost like how would you react when the lot lizards at your truck stop all of a sudden started building their own trucks and trucking themselves?
Yeah, I would take an interest, right? Yeah, you're right. And well, it just brings to mind all these questions. Like if there is ongoing contact, who, out of however many the total number of civilizations we're aware of is, like, what percentage of those are we actually in direct contact with? How often does that communication take place? Is it daily? Is it constant? Is it once a year? In what form does it take place? And also, like, just the bigger question of how tightly controlled is space travel between star systems and between planets? Is that something that is common? Is it rare for ships to go from place to place? Is it considered dangerous? Is it not? So many questions.
Do you need permits? Do you need permits to travel? If there's a federation, do you need like allowances to go? Is there air traffic controllers? All that kind of stuff. Fun stuff.
What was the somebody said about the Galactic Federation that that our idea of what a Galactic Federation actually means is a really distorted version of what there actually is? And that, do you know what this? I see you're nodding, Rob. Do you know what I'm talking about?
No, I just agree with the concept that like we probably have a very outmoded and barbarian like concept of like what a really truly egalitarian like government would be like. So we're probably the wrong ones to ask about tips on freedom and liberty.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, this was just a really interesting Reddit post, and the person who wrote it was just saying like they were in the position of saying they were leaking some information that they thought was accurate. So it's a rumor, but it was an interesting rumor. And they were like, look, your idea of what the Galactic Federation is actually really distorted. It's not exactly like what you think, but that's the best analogy that you guys have. So that's what we, it's in everyone's interest that you just stick with that. But what's really happening is more along the lines of there are clusters of star systems that have sort of like handshake agreements between civilizations that you can trade and travel between places. But it's tightly controlled and restricted. It's not super common, and if you go outside of that sphere of influence, it's considered pretty dangerous. A lot of times, people who don't come back.
Yeah,
very
interesting.
interesting.
They've got NAFTA too.
Huh?
Sounds like they've got NAFTA too.
Got their own NAFTA. That's right. It's NAFTA. I could see that. I could see something along those lines.
Well, I think you have to think about what would the motivations be for a civilization that lives in complete unfettered abundance. And we like to think we might operate in a Star Trek way where it's all about exploration and stuff. But once you start to realize, if you understand the universe to the degree that they might do, the whole concept of exploration might not be the case of going to another place. It might be completely meaningless. It might all be about the study of the self or something along those lines. It might be about, you might not be going linearly anywhere. So it's all of this whole, no need to trade, no need to fight with anybody. In some ways, there's no need to...
I like that.
Reason. What the hell is that?
It's Fabio, baby.
Oh, Nords.
joking about the Nords. They're super annoying. They've got this abundant society, post scarcity. They're dicks about it. They all look like Fabio.
Case in point.
Can I tell you a funny life story about Fabio?
Do you have a life story?
Yeah. I grew up in Southern Virginia, and we have a theme park nearby called Busch Gardens Williamsburg, and the theme park is themed around like Europe, like historical Europe. So they did a roller coaster called Apollo's Chariot, and they wanted to get somebody who looked like a Greek god to like ride in the front with like all these supermodels. And I went to the opening, and it was Fabio was on the first ride.
You were there for the?
Yeah, I was there. I was there for the bird thing. Yeah, so I was really young, and they forgot to actually go out and like clear out all of the ducks from the water reservoir that the roller coaster passes over. And so when they passed over like the main drop, all these ducks like flew up in the air. One of them hit him right in the face, and it caused major damage to his face. Like he was bleeding, like broke his nose. He had to get a bunch of surgery. It was really awful.
Dude, that's like being there when Kennedy shot. That's a huge moment in history.
That's huge. Where were you, Dan?
Crazy.
I was home like a loser.
You weren't allowed to be in line. Like there was a big crowd, like just out because this coaster it's right on the edge of the park, like by the by the parking lots. So like we got to be out like in the parking lot and like watch them run it for the first time, and then got to go into the theme park. So
he got fucking nailed, dude.
Surreal.
What was the bird? Do we know what bird it was?
I believe it was a duck, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Oh my god, this guy was so famous at that time. This was such a big deal.
Look at his face.
He was so pissed off. I'll never forget that.
What a crazy story this was. He literally rolled out like with a bloody nose and a camera pointing at him the whole time. Look at this camera.
Do you know how mad he was to not be beautiful?
Just
for a
to say,
moment?
you know, it's like it was a miracle, but it wasn't a freak accident, and it's going to happen again. And you know, I cannot live with my conscience knowing then the ride is still running, and maybe you know a person
that ride's still running,
or even a child.
It's a great ride.
Can be.
That ride's still running.
They have nets up to make sure that the birds like don't go in towards that area or anything, so it's not a big deal.
You guys know
it easily 100 times.
Birds aren't real, right? You know that, right? That's the
They're all drones, dude. We know
all
that.
Drones. Birds aren't real. Look it up.
Following CIA's Project Aquiline in 1969, all birds were slowly replaced by weaponized drones. I'm just kidding. Although they did have the CIA did have a Project Aquiline that was focused on them building bird-like drones for use over Asia for reconnaissance purposes. Asia to also include Russia. But
Seagulls are real, though. Seagulls are real.
I mean, or so the Germans would have you believe.
So just a question to the group at large. Which would you rather deal with, a seagull or a pigeon? There is a correct answer.
Man, what context? What am I doing?
Any context.
I mean, if it's customer service facing, then seagull. If it's
seagulls are so invasive. And
the answer is always pigeon. Pigeons are incredible birds compared to seagulls. I'm just joking though. I hate seagulls.
Me
too. They taste awful. I'm just no, I've never eaten a seagull, but I think they would taste awful.
Never mind.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't want to.
Pigeons are cool though. There are people who like keep pigeons and like.
Pigeons are super cool. Like they're very useful in terms of like all sorts of things. So like historically, pigeons have been very helpful to human beings. So.
And how does this segue into Doom? Because we need to up the Doom. Apparently, we need to.
Oh, I've got a Doom one for you. We should show that Toyota jump shot robot. There's the Doom.
This one is sad, not doomy. It's because Burleson just named the person who took his own life. Apparently, that Jake Barber mentioned on the American Alchemy interview. He mentioned the name.
Eric Burleson, who is calling for the FBI to get involved. Congressman, when did you first find out about this?
My office found out about it last year. We sent a letter to the FBI about a gentleman named Matthew Sullivan, who actually we had reached out to. He was scheduled to come in for an interview. Within 2 weeks, he had suspiciously committed suicide. That report was referred to the Office of Inspector General. They deemed it credible and urgent. They then referred it to the FBI. So this is not the first that we've heard of this. That was the first that we became aware of. When I first came in, I heard of another gentleman, and I'll keep that name out of respect. I sent a letter to the FBI investigating the suspicious suicide of another individual who had worked alongside, other whistleblowers like David Grush and Jake Barber who had come forward. So their colleague is mysteriously committed suicide. We've already sent the letter to the FBI to investigate that, and that is an ongoing investigation.
All right. Well, that's interesting.
What changed from then to now that he can now say the name?
I don't know the
Maybe
answer to that.
time.
Good question.
Okay,
You know,
now
I really
I'm
have
learning
a-
who Fabio is, because I didn't know who Fabio was all this time.
What?
How do you not know who Fabio is? Come on, man.
Yeah, I had
For real?
no idea.
Do you
No
even
idea.
lift?
Come on, man.
Sorry, guys. I don't know what just happened.
I've got a Doomy. Do you guys want to get Doomy? I got a Doomy clip here for you. You want to? All right, this one's just called "The Sound of Anti-Personnel Drones Hunting You." That's 24 seconds from
God, I
Reddit.
hate this video.
I've watched way too many videos of this.
This one makes me feel so uneasy. Listen to this noise, people.
The worst part about this is that
Jesus.
the worst part about this is that the quad motors on those, the way that they like echo with each other, especially out in the open, it makes it really hard for you to tell where it's coming from. Like it sounds like it's like if it's relatively near to you, it sounds like it's coming from like everywhere above you. It's very hard to pick out.
Whoa, that's scary.
That's the last sound we're all going to hear, guys.
Yeah.
When Skynet finally decides to eliminate everybody, you'll just hear about 1 million of those fly over your city.
Pretty much.
Oh no.
I mean, these guys, they're if you think about how much warfare is being completely reinvented right now in Ukraine and in Hormuz with regard to the way this asymmetric military might of the United States is being countered by, these really inexpensive drones in Hormuz. And then you've got this whole, rapid evolution of drone warfare in Ukraine. I think Zelensky just announced, was it just 2-3 days ago, that the first instance of a completely robotic assault on a Russian position, and they actually took prisoners with ground drones, right?
Yeah.
Did you see the video?
No, that's confirmed. It's one of the things. And if we want to get really doomer here, I would give you the most negative outlook. If you had the most negative possible outlook, you might look at the current geopolitical situation and look at the 3 different conflicts that are currently taking place, by which I'm referring to Ukraine, however you want to characterize what's taking place in Gaza and Lebanon, as well as Iran. Look at all 3 of those and just realize that the reason that those conflicts, well, maybe not Iran, but the reason that certain other conflicts are playing out long term is because they do serve as a testing ground for Western weapon systems.
Mm-hmm.
Because those weapon systems go get tested and iterated on in Ukraine. And so, I think part of the reason why maybe people don't care too much to try and force a resolution there is, there's concern with Russia and stuff like that, but also that Western manufacturers and nations have a lot to gain by testing all of their things out on the Ukrainian people while they've still got bodies to throw in their mix.
That is so dark.
So gross.
Imagine the markup on these drones. Like, I see Palmer Luckey is getting in on the drone game big time. Like they know that this is a product that you can sell millions of, and these units have to be disposable. They're all going to get destroyed and replaced over and over and over again. Like, what a great business.
Yeah.
I mean, it's awful, but it's, from a business perspective, if you think about it like that, I could see
big business,
huge business. Here's this story about Zelensky. This is from Mirror Now. War not being fought by humans anymore. Is this the drone, the ground unit?
Yeah.
Or are these some of their homegrown domestic?
These are a lot of their homegrown drones. Like that's a Flamingo cruise missile right there. A couple of these are some of the more homegrown FPV drones and like ISR drones that they build. A lot of them are modeled after like former Russian units or like Western devices that they have to adapt. They're the cutting edge in drone technology, treatable drone technology, I should say.
The Ukrainians.
Yeah. And when I say attritable, I mean like disposable. Like these are single-use units that are understood to get destroyed. So
we have a situation now where I understand China has just been. Did they get caught delivering weapons to Iran or manpads? Is that? Have you heard this?
The answer to that.
Supposedly, China's been sending man-portable anti-aircraft weapons to Iran. I don't know. I'm not trying to put you on the spot, but this was a rumor that was going around on Reddit. And since we have so little information coming out of the Iran conflict, it's really hard to know.
I would think that the United States would not take kindly to that if it were the case. So
I don't know. I wonder if the Chinese even give a shit what we do anymore.
I think they do, because we're still each other's biggest trade partners. So there's concern there. I mean, we're not shooting at each other yet. So, and that would probably constitute shooting at each other. Like if you're handing someone else the gun and saying, well, you got to pull the trigger, buddy. Not that the United States doesn't do that all the time, but I'm sure that the United States would get upset if somebody else used our own playbook.
Isn't Russia, though, giving intelligence to Iran on the location of American military?
Supposedly they've been giving, satellite support to Iran.
And we do that with Ukraine for...
Yes, absolutely we do.
The inverse. So you have a situation where it's just, I'm looking at this and I'm like, if the Strait of Hormuz were to remain closed for a long enough period of time, eventually the Chinese are just going to be fed up with that situation. They're going to force it to change in one way or another. And they do have a lot of leverage because we're their biggest trading partner, but
they just build, the Chinese could just build pipelines from Iran to China and solve the problem that way. We wouldn't want that.
Right. Well, I thought that's what Belt and Road was kind of about, right? Eventually.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah. I talked to Dolan. I got an interview with him that's going to go up, I think, Saturday. And we talked about that a little bit, about how when I was in Peru last year, the amount of Chinese investment in South America is astounding.
Yeah.
It's the amount of money the Chinese are investing to build skyscrapers just develop.
And they as part of their deals for the debt leveraging, they get like a percentage of your future GDP.
Yep.
It's crazy.
They made a deal. So they got with the Peruvians hedged their bets against the United States. And they were like, they entertained the Chinese, and the Chinese came in with the Belt and Road thing. And they said, we want to make a better deal. They built one of the world's biggest ports in Peru, which is for exporting Peruvian produce and resources from the mining sector back to China, which shaves like 2 weeks off the transit time. And just so happens that their port is big enough to host an aircraft carrier.
Yeah.
Just in case.
Well, Bahrain is the same thing, like selling out all of their land to other host countries. That's why the United States has like one of its biggest bases in Bahrain, and China did the same thing with them. China has a base that's insanely large. That's right, like almost down the block from where our base is in Bahrain. So, they're trying to build that network of bases just like we have. It's what any great power would do. I can't fault them for it. Just concerns me.
What was this news about? Did you hear about we lost $1 billion radar system in Saudi Arabia? Was that the...
We lost multiple ANTPY2 radars. These are gallium nitride phased array radars for like long distance over the horizon weapons detection. They're incredibly valuable assets, but we probably have to really reassess how we do missile defense, because there just weren't enough interceptors. They were able to overload our interceptor batteries or get to our interceptor batteries while they were reloading or out of ammo. I can't really tell you about like operational details that I don't know, but
sure,
they destroyed at least 3 of those radars. I think 2 of them were at our bases and one was an ally piece. But the total cost on that was like in the hundreds of millions, if not billions, just for those units.
And I understand that Iran has functional hypersonic anti-ship weapons, right? Is that accurate? Or
so the term hypersonic gets thrown around a lot. I don't know the true nature of their hypersonic vehicles. When we talk about hypersonics, some things do travel at what we might call hypersonic, like we're talking like Mach 6 plus, right? But a lot of those are ballistic missiles. And a lot of those, like if you try and refer to a ballistic missile that doesn't have a hypersonic glide vehicle, like a boost phase glide vehicle, that's not really a hypersonic. That's a ballistic missile. We've had those for a long time. Iran has tons of those. I don't know whether or not they have a true HGV or hypersonic glide vehicle, but the hallmark of a true hypersonic glide vehicle is that it can do like terminal phase adjustments where it can like maneuver itself to avoid your interceptors. And so that's the true purpose behind trying to have that type of weapon. It's not going to carry a warhead that's as big as, say, a ballistic missile with a traditional,
nuclear payload.
Wow, I can't talk. Reentry vehicle. It's not going to have that like same effect, but you're getting mostly kinetics out of it if there is any explosive charge there. But the idea is that it's built to evade interceptors and be so fast that like directed energy weapons aren't really a good concept to use against it, because you don't have the ability to dwell a laser on it long enough. Like you need to be able to dwell a laser on it at current technology like tens of seconds, which is a long time.
So it could be like darting around and doing evasive maneuvers during that time.
Absolutely.
I see.
And to answer for any of the viewers who might be wondering this, why like you couldn't just build that onto a traditional ballistic missile or use like a traditional ballistic missile reentry vehicle to do those same things, it's because of the heat of reentry. A hypersonic glide vehicle is intended to operate with a plasma sheath for a great period of time, but they can use different materials in order to be able to use like radar and guidance systems. Whereas in order for like a radome, usually you need like something like plastic or fiberglass, and those materials, in order to be radar transparent for you to have a terminal phase guidance system, those materials don't hold up to that. So you can't build those reentry vehicles that way.
But hypothetically, like if the United States were to park a bunch more warships in the Strait of Hormuz, Iran could theoretically take out warships with hypersonic weapons. If they have,
I'd ask the question that if this was such a big concern before, why not then?
Right, right. Well, I wonder if that's just why this whole thing has been so confusing, because we've sent, we're getting involved in a situation that war planners have been looking at for so long and saying this is going to be really bad if we get involved.
Well, yes, but also I think that like certain threats are a little bit overblown about certain weapons technologies they have. There's anti-ship missiles. We have suites of technology. We have defense in depth to deal with that. Have we lost any vessels yet? No. Could we? Absolutely. So we shouldn't play around. But is that a hypersonic vehicle or a hypersonic glide vehicle? I don't think so.
The Fatah 1. Interesting.
But that's for the intel guys to know, not me. I mean,
you're our intel guy.
All right. Well, let me rephrase this. I'll say at least one thing to the Iranians' credit. We didn't believe that they had the ability to strike Diego Garcia, and yet we had to intercept multiple missiles that were fired at Diego Garcia. I think we only had to intercept one of them. And if you can hit Diego Garcia, you can hit Europe, because this is equal distance. From Iran. So I mean, it's a major concern, but again, they only fired 2 of those. I would assume that they are experimental vehicles, and we did intercept one of them, which says to me that it wasn't a hypersonic glide vehicle, just a more experimental, higher end, ballistic missile that they had a limited number of.
That is a tremendous amount of detail for someone who claims to be a non-expert. You're really good, Rob. You're really good.
Little light reading on a Sunday.
A little light reading. This is why I love talking to you, man. It's like we could literally ask you any question and you have a detailed answer.
I had a strangely large donation with a question I don't quite understand. But
thank you, kind stranger Jeff 0997 for the amazing super chat. Let's see, what is the question? Are there any aliens, or is it all just hoaxes and trolls from the government? Yes, I've watched all the videos from Jesse Michaels and Rogan and everything. ?
Could
they're real.
A lot are hoaxes, most of them, I would say. But in my experience, only because I've experienced some weird shit in my life, I think there is something there, and that's what keeps me here.
Do we have the clip of Burchett yesterday on camera saying aliens? Like when he was asked specifically if he's talking about craft or
I think
aliens.
there's a Matt Laszlo clip. Let me find it for you.
I don't think it was Laszlo. He was on a podcast talking to somebody.
Then I don't know. I can go down to his office after this and ask.
I just saw so many interviews from Burchett that I missed a lot of them because he kept repeating the same stuff. And
I mean, I interviewed him yesterday, so
yeah. Did you guys get anything new?
Not me. Joe Khalil interviewed him, and I helped facilitate the interview.
Did you guys get anything new from the interview? From everything you said on the other ones?
We got some new stuff, and you'll see that come out. Yeah, I can't talk about it.
That's
yet
cool.
Because it's
that's cool. I was just wondering about whether if it was new or not because he's been repeating a lot of stuff in different interviews. And
no, we asked for some more specifics on a couple topics. I think you guys will enjoy it. It should be a brief like special reality check episode with Joe Khalil. So.
Nice.
I would say to Jeff, to answer your question, give you a little, because that is a pretty amazing super chat. Let me try to give it a little more context. Yes, it's real. I think most of us agree that it's real, but the questions are about what exactly do we know? What we're pretty sure we know is that yes, they're real. Yes, the aliens have been to Earth. For thousands of years, they've been coming and going. Yes, there are more than one kind, multiple kinds, and it's highly likely that they're doing different things. The question of like how much technology have we actually successfully been able to reverse engineer seems like it's getting more fleshed out by the decade, and I think it's pretty safe to say that we've got operational equipment that we know how to at least duplicate in some minor way. So it's real. We just are trying to get the official disclosure. We're trying to get to that.
I have a different response though, because
what's your response?
I've spoken to Dan, who has seen a UFO in fucking Burbank, and that's what keeps me like believing that there is something, but I haven't seen any UFOs. But there's also this whole consciousness aspect of the phenomenon that I think, for me, it feels more real than all the stories that are going on in the government so far. And no disparaging anybody who's come forward. I admire them for being brave for doing that, but I'm the kind of guy that really needs to see something in order to believe it, or see more, cliche smoking gun evidence.
I'm with you.
But I do believe that people have experienced things that they cannot explain, and I do believe experiencers when they talk about it. What seems to be real to me is the abduction phenomenon seems to be real. It has dialed down a little bit over the years. It's not as prevalent as it used to be, I think, but that seems to be real. People are seeing stuff in the sky that they cannot explain. That is real.
Mm-hmm.
And the whole psi phenomena aspect of this phenomenon for me is very real because I've experienced it. But when it comes to politicians talking about the topic and all that, I hope that they get answers from the government. But I don't know if you guys feel the same way, but if there's like a specific message from the governments right now, is that, yeah, we're doing that. So what? You can't do anything about it. Whatever they're doing.
Which is kind of enough for me. Like, I don't expect a whole lot more from the government than that. If we ever got more, I would be thrilled. But like just the fact that we've gotten to the point now where you had in the span of a week, Barack Obama, Donald Trump, Hillary Clinton, all being asked directly about this question, all responding in the affirmative in one form or another. And, at a certain point, you just have to go, Richard Dolan wrote a book called National Security, UFOs in the National Security State. And it's all about this. It's like, if you go back and look at the last 80 years, there's just overwhelming evidence that it's here, that we've got some kind of ongoing program. There are too many people for it to be, with too many accounts. There's too much smoke for there to be no fire.
Yeah.
But I'm with you on the psi thing. Like, that's something you can experience for yourself tonight. Like, you could wake up tomorrow and start meditating. And if you meditate enough, and if you do it with enough consistency, you will start to see weirdness in your life.
Yep.
1000% guarantee. There's no question.
This is the thing I was going to finish on earlier before we got distracted by the guy getting hit in the face with a goose. As you just said, Clint, you can experience it today if you meditate, or let's not encourage, but psychedelics and things like that. It could well be the case that you learn the most stuff about reality by really staying still rather than going off traveling everywhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, we know that, well, people that study, like, go hardcore into Buddhism and stuff, they spend just hours and days and weeks just sitting still, not talking, mostly with their eyes closed. And it's a bit like, okay, they feel like they're learning something important when doing that.
Yeah,
Otherwise,
Rob's back, by the way.
wouldn't. Yeah, I know. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. So, when it comes to, like, what does that Galactic Federation look like? It's probably like a lot less interesting, because everyone's just kind of stood still, like, understanding everything all the time. That's a really weird way to put it, but I think that's kind of, in that way, it could be very different from a very complex system of trade routes and galactic wars and stuff like that. I just don't see it.
Yeah.
Do you want to?
On the other hand, Timber Chet just said the word aliens, so I don't know.
Well, let's watch that clip. Do you have that?
So
in
when
that cup, Tim?
I think you said Air Force General walked out of your office and he said, "Tim, they're real." What was he talking about?
He was an admiral.
The objects? Admiral. Okay, Admiral. What was he talking about? The objects are real or aliens are real?
Aliens.
Really?
Really. I mean, it's...
So when that, I think you said Air Force General.
That was Tim Gallaudet, wasn't it?
Probably.
Yeah, if he's referring to the Admiral, I believe he's referring to Admiral Gallaudet.
Yeah.
He'd be the one that I would like to talk to.
He's a really nice guy.
About what he knows. What's
I
going
can
on.
get you his phone number.
Note to self. I'll get that from you offline. That's interesting. Rob, how are you on time, by the way? I understand you are actually at work right now, so we don't want to...
I mean, this is also, like, doing this is part of my job, believe it or not. So I'm okay. I've got about, like, 20, 30 more minutes before I need to...
Before you leave, I do want to ask you something, Rob, because there was something that dropped on the Daily Mail from the Jeremy Corbell documentary about Gulf breeze images, and you're from that part of the U.S., right? What can you tell us about that?
Well, one thing I'll say is that my family, I'm from Southern Virginia, but my family is all military. So a lot of people in my family got stationed down in Pensacola, Florida, which is really close to Gulf Breeze, like right across the water. So somehow I ended up living there for about 4 years. I just moved up to DC. The Gulf Breeze incident is something I definitely advise people to look into. Gosh, I can't remember the guy's name off the top of my head.
Ed Walters.
Ed Walters, thank you. Ed Walters purportedly took a number of pictures that were published anonymously through him to the Gulf Breeze Sentinel, which was the local paper at the time, in the mid to late 80s of these what looked like UFOs. There's a lot of people that have tried to say that he's a hoaxer. But Dr. Bruce McAfee, who was a physicist and an optics expert for the United States Navy, worked with him during that time period in order to try and verify the images. There have been a number of studies done by SCU members to try and work on those images as well and determine whether or not they're fakes. And just about everybody who's looked at them has said that they are very likely not fakes. And also the model that was found in Gulf Breeze at the guy's house when he moved out, that is supposedly the debunk, does not even match the photographs that they took.
Correct.
So it's really absurd. It's a super interesting story. Actually, speaking of which, I'm glad you brought this up. We are looking to do an episode of our new show, Unreported with Mega Medic, about this incident with an individual who's from the area who can talk to us about extensive investigative efforts that he took part in the 90s when that was happening.
Oh, awesome.
Nice.
That's exciting.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
In terms of my connection to it, I lived on the same street as where the guy supposedly got abducted from.
Wow.
Really?
So
Yeah.
So
And
what's
Walters
Ed is
was
still
supposedly
alive, right?
abducted from Shoreline Park, and I live right on the same street as Shoreline Park, or did.
He's still alive, I believe.
I'm not sure.
I believe
This
he
is so interesting. If you go on their the Wikipedia for Gulf Breeze,
Yeah, the Gulf Breeze UFO incident,
and they
That's the
show
supposed
this.
model.
This look at this. It's two styrofoam plates attached by a strip of drafting paper. The model was found in the attic of Ed Walters' Pensacola home shortly after he moved. Walters claimed to have sighted UFOs in this area during the 1980s.
And by the way, I
So
believe the
how
story
does-
goes that it was the only thing in the attic was that. Like he would just leave that behind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That
Well,
doesn't even
okay,
look like
so
any
here's
of the
thing, though.
pictures.
Here's the thing, and it's even fishier than that, because there are locals that will attest to there having been a break-in at that home after Walters vacated the home, but prior to the new owner taking possession.
There you go.
Damn.
So can somebody tell me how this relates to Corbell?
He has
I
the
don't actually know.
documents from former Los Alamos chief, who has a really thick set of documents with a lot of evidence of studies. And something that caught my attention was that in the trailer, we can play that actually, by the way, we don't get flagged for that. In the trailer, Corbell says that some scientists' names are in the documents, allegedly being part of some of these studies that were performed at Los Alamos. And he says that he knows many of these scientists and they haven't told him about that. So presumably these scientists were working on that and they signed NDAs for that because they haven't talked about it, right? That's what I got from that.
I flipped through that file. I've seen that file that Jeremy has. I
Oh.
flipped through it, and there's some awesome stuff. I mean, a lot of it I don't know what I'm looking at. I didn't sit down and go through it for a half hour, but flip through it, and there's some really cool stuff in there. I'm sure there's a wealth of information that smarter people than I would be able to figure out in there. But it's pretty cool shit.
Nice.
Yeah. But yeah, Xander, yeah, so some of the Gulf Breeze stuff is in there, some Bruce Maccabee stuff, then a bunch of other things.
Yeah.
But it kind of
And
gives
this
a little
this
bit
is
more
information that belonged to who? Sorry.
If someone who worked at Los Alamos, he passed away, and his son found all this stuff going through his dad's effects, and like found
Right.
this massive file of stuff. And I mean, Jeremy will tell the story about how it came to him, but this
It
kid-
was
this kid just
labeled
didn't know what to do.
as atmospheric anomalies, right? That's what
Yes.
it was labeled as.
Oh yeah, it looks like it. Looks like it.
And people have done
Yeah.
all
Wow.
kinds of all kinds of tests on these photographs, and it would be an incredibly elaborate fake, and like Rob said, most likely, highly unlikely a fake, or at least something was photographed there. I guess I'll say that something was photographed over that road.
It's hard to tell. These pictures are so low. I think this is a still from a VHS. It says it was shot, a minute and 30-second video was shot, minute and 38-second video. Ed shot in a 6-month span from November 1987 to May 1988 over their home in Gulf
Wait.
Breeze.
There's a video of it. I never saw a video of it of that. Oh,
what
there's
he
one.
says.
He has a video in the sky. He has a video of one. I think up over the water, over the trees. I think.
Interesting. Has anybody seen anything like this since? I mean, is this the only time these things have ever been sighted in that area? Or once he went away, the story went
think-
away?
Gulf Breeze had a one or 2 year kind of flap around that time. Other people saw that craft, and I think there was also saucers, but I could be wrong. Oh,
Maybe
Rob, you're
like
muted.
one dude figured it out and then just Rob, you're muted. Sorry. Maybe one dude figured it out, built a craft, and then just once he'd
So-
done testing it, he just
No, I think it's
he
more
just flew
complex than
away.
that. I think it's shoot downs. Shoot downs more than likely occurred in Gulf Breeze around that time. Due to it, Gulf Breeze, if you guys aren't aware, Gulf Breeze is roughly 14 miles down the road from Eglin Air Force Base.
Mm-hmm.
So it's basically in the same little spit of land. Eglin Air Force Base is one of the largest major test and training facilities the United States military has, and it's completely Air Force controlled. So if you guys ever go back and read that Loose Threads document, you should read the section about EMPRESS, EMPRESS. It's a United States Navy platform that was used for electromagnetic pulse testing, which they then moved in the mid to early 80s, if I'm not mistaken, down to Gulf Breeze. Supposedly it was used off the coast of Gulf Breeze a number of times, and there are witness reports of there supposedly being a craft or saucer that was transported from Pensacola Beach. Like Xander, can you pull up Google Maps and search Gulf Breeze? And I can sort of like point you guys as to like where this all took place. Because there's just I can point out, like, it's confusing to understand like how dense this area is and like what all is going on in this area until you see the map and you understand, like, oh my God, wow. Like, how is there this much military stuff all in one place when it's not just one base? So when you look at Gulf Breeze, if Xander zooms in, this is Gulf Breeze proper, as they call it, this little spit of land here. This is where this is where Ed lived. Ed lived near Shoreline Park, which is on this like southern shore near this bridge. Now, the spit of land that's below it is called Pensacola Beach. That's where the ocean front is, where they have like the boardwalk and everything. Supposedly, there was a shoot down that took place with a device, because all of the water that's out past like a mile here, this is all Eglin's test and training range. It's all owned by Eglin Air Force Base. So supposedly they moved this platform out there and shot it down. And what did they do with it? Well, supposedly, what they did, because it was the Navy project, they didn't take it down to Eglin. They took it on a bridge back over the Pensacola Beach Bridge, back over that 3-mile bridge, all the way to the Naval Air Station Pensacola, which is to the left.
Because they didn't want to bring it to the Air Force.
It's right there. Right. They don't want the Air Force. Air Force has their own. But this is also one of the biggest aviation bases in the entire United States. It's where we train most of our aviators in this region. If you were to zoom out, you would be able to see that there are so many bases in this region. It's not even funny. There's all the NATO fighter pilots get trained up in Milton, Florida, which is just up the road. I used to live there. You know, that's basic fighter training for like aeronautics, and then you end up going to other schools for like jet training and stuff like that. Down the road to the right is Eglin. Like this entire swath of land. You see all these gray spots, or like the tan spots to the top right there?
Yep.
That's all Eglin. If you go that whole section, this is all Eglin. No,
That's
even more than that.
It's a huge footprint.
No, much more than that. It's that plus everything to the right, all the way until you see like that highway on the right-hand side that goes around it. There's one highway that passes directly through the center, and that's the only way to get like down to Niceville if you're up on Interstate 10. But as you go through this is all one major test and training facility. A lot of this is set aside for special ops. You've got like Site C6, which is phased array radar down near the south. It's an insane facility. It's much larger than Area 51.
Wow.
Whoa,
that is really
that's huge.
Interesting.
Yeah. Thanks, Rob.
Yeah.
Damn.
Wow. Great data dump.
Subject matter expert.
Subject matter.
Not anymore. Now I'm just Rob Jones.
Expert.
Rob
large. Not required to dress this way.
Nope.
Yeah, totally.
All for the love of the game.
Anything else, guys, before we wrap up? I feel like we're running out of time here, and I don't want to.
Should we watch Jeremy's trailer? I'm excited about this film.
Yeah, let's watch
that'd be
Jeremy's
cool.
trailer.
Jeff.
There's a super chat there.
Jeff.
All right. Shout out to the E4 Mafia, Jeff. All the petty officers out there. We stick together. I used to be one at one point.
Everyone says not to take the E4 that reported about the hybrid breeding seriously, but I really want to take it seriously. E4 Mafia. That's great.
I think there's a breeding program, but I don't think
you're
it's
fine.
humans in control of it. The way Gates said it, it was humans kind of forcing a breeding program on aliens, and I think if there was one,
sounds a lot like rape.
Yeah, a little bit, which humans do love to do, by the way. But I feel like it would be the other way around if they were a program like that. I don't think it would be a human-driven program, personally.
I stand by my statement that there are probably an uncomfortably large number of people that would willingly fuck an alien for free.
And on that note,
you know what I'm saying? Like, you could just do a questionnaire. Like, would you guys, anyone here want to fuck an alien? And some people are going to raise their hand and be like, yeah, I'll do it.
I bet there's 5 on this show right now.
I'll do it. Well, what's the worst that could happen?
Consensual. It's all good.
That's right. That's right.
It's all love.
Don't
Can't
kink
spell
shame me, homie.
consensual without sensual.
What's do we have Jeremy's trailer?
We do, yes. Yeah,
Oh,
that cut really took a turn. Right. Here he goes. Jeremy, please don't do a copyright strike on us.
By the way,
Come on.
this is not his film.
No,
this is directed by yeah. Go ahead.
It's not just self vanity, is it? It's
Michael Levine.
Your journalistic credentials mean jack shit. If you look in the 70s and 80s with the CIA, they used to have reporters on their payroll. They don't respect anybody.
Corbell is an investigative journalist who helped obtain and release the DoD footage of UFOs.
I've been holding a secret for about 11 years, and it's going to be extremely public. It's not a video of an alien. It's not a video of one crowd. It's more than that. Years ago, I went searching for the truth about UFOs. And I found it.
He was the most curious kid ever.
First person that I pointed a camera at was John Lear.
John Lear, son of the famed aviation pioneer and a world-class pilot.
The government has between 30 and 50 alien bodies.
Cold called his phone, and he picked up. I want to bring, a camera, and then how open he was with me.
This was not part of my game plan at all.
Flying saucers, flying discs of extraterrestrial origin.
The evidence is very strong. They've been here and are here.
It's an Alice in Wonderland planet. Very few people will ever find the truth. But everybody is looking for the truth. And a lot of people think that they found the truth. But that's impossible.
I'm like the least qualified person on planet Earth. One thing I am is I am worthy of your trust.
If you really have stuff that is that sensitive that you cannot release, you're relying on your connection as a journalist. They're not going to come after you, not only you, but they're going to come after your family. If I die, the story comes out.
It would represent one of the largest leaks in American history. I don't know what to do, man. Is it worth it?
Oh, that looks so good.
Yeah, it looks really good, and it also reminds me that as a journalist, I have really got to get my concealed carry permit here in DC.
How is what are concealed carry laws like in DC? Can you carry?
It's a little restrictive, but you can get it. So
in Florida, they're pretty open. They're pretty.
They have constitutional.
What? I don't believe it.
In Florida.
Yeah.
So by state constitutional law, you are not required to to register for that, get a license or anything. You just go buy a handgun. You can carry it concealed legally at all times.
Go Florida.
Which is what I used to do. So
I used to do it too. I stopped. I used to do it for a while though. It was just like I couldn't, like, I'm buying bacon at the grocery store and I'm like, why do I need to be armed? What am I doing?
Well, I mean, listen, the only reason I did it in Florida is because I was afraid of other Floridians.
Yes. Yeah. Well,
everybody else is armed, so I better be too.
That's a good point. Yes, that is very true. Very true.
Around here, there's not as much of a reason for me to do that. Like, I have to go into so many federal buildings that, like, it would be foolish for me to even, like, bring that with me anywhere.
It just would slow you down.
Yep.
The Corbell thing with Lear looks amazing though. We had dinner with Jeremy in Austin, and he shared a little bit about the John Lear stuff that he had done in the past. That he had the work he had done with John, and man, what a cool story! Just to hear what that guy was like. John Lear is one of my favorite storytellers.
You're
I'm really looking forward to being able to sit down with Jeremy at some point in the future. I've never had the chance to, say more than like 2 or 3 sentences to him, aside from like some phone calls.
Oh, Jeremy?
Yeah.
We'll get some good hangs in contact.
Sounds good.
Yeah. He's cool.
There's some great Lear stuff in the film. You're gonna love it, Clint. There's some really, really funny stuff. There's some like sad stuff. It's pretty cool.
So you already saw it?
I have seen it. I saw it.
Cool.
Yep.
I've
seen it.
The Dr. Edgar Mitchell stuff is what has me really puzzled, man.
Puzzled how?
Well, there's not a lot of like new stuff from him, obviously because he's passed away, and that's I presume is going to be new stuff from him, new footage and all that. So I'm excited for that.
Yeah, there's
puzzled.
some really cool things in there that I am beyond pumped to talk about once the film is out.
You guys want to take a look at a really weird clip? This security guy, this Area 51 security guy.
Yeah,
See if you
absolutely.
can. I think some of you may have seen this already.
And if I could just answer that question in the chat, we're a publicly traded company. We don't have like a direct funding mechanism aside from ads. We sell ads. We also have deals with cable groups to carry us. So that's how we get our money. Cool. It's not a shadowy MJ12 organization.
I was thinking shadowy MJ12.
I mean, that's what I was hoping for.
Yeah,
no shit.
And we'd have a lot more access. This is a clip. I just stumbled on this the other day, and I know it's been floating around for years, but this is a former, this guy claims to be a former SEAL who is on the run. He's giving an interview somewhere out in the bush, out in the desert somewhere, and he looks like he's pretty nervous, and the audio is really rough, but there are subtitles here. And he's describing his role as a security officer who was stationed at S4 and had a very specific kind of beat that he worked. And he's going to describe what he saw during his time there. And this is just really fascinating.
Site floor, excluding the top level, the surface, which is basically a hangars with the satellite. There's probably not too much to it, but the levels are all operated. There's the first and second levels are all elevator where they keep the flying disc, ships, whatever you want to call it. They bring it to the surface. Right when I was there, they were trying to operate the disc, but to my viewing, unsuccessfully. There's scientists there. I've personally witnessed White House officials being there. Right now, I'm basically kind of scared. I mean, I'm on the run. I don't know what everything holds for me. I just want to get this out in the open. This is a very vast complex. Big place. A big place. The elevators are right here. There's 4 elevators. 3 and 4 are extremely security. There are no sentries down at 3 or 4. And the levels of 3 and 4, I don't know what goes on down there. I heard something about an EBI or EB down there. I'm not too familiar with what it is, but
I heard something about an EBE on level 4, and on levels 3 and 4, there are no sentries that go down there. I don't know what they do down there. We know that.
I wonder when EBE entered the nomenclature.
Dan Burrish says J-Rod was stored on level 4. That's where the clean sphere was, and that's where they worked on him. And so this guy is saying, I was never allowed to really go down there, but just listen to where it goes next. It's only a few
as you
more
get
minutes.
off the elevators, get off, and this is level 2. You walk in, the bays are over here. They're all separated by like an automatic doors that open and close each bay. Walk down, there's 5 on each side. There's a hallway right there, and each of these bays have elevators. It'll bring them all the way to the top. It'll bring the whole floor all the way up with a hydraulic system. Now, as you walk down, there's a lot of machinery right here, which I have no recollection of what it does. I believe I've never been in that area. My job was to be a sentry for these 3 gates and up above in the level complex, and sometimes I would be walking down here escorting people. Now, over on this, there's a hallway down here that breaks off, which is there's a big computer system right here. I believe it's a computer system. I'm not going to say for sure. Right here is a level for 7 tubes.
7 tubes.
These tubes are about 2 feet in width. They're about 6 feet in height. They stand on end. They stand on end on end. Now, as you walk in and you look at these tubes, I'm just gonna go push a 1. They're all exactly the same. The creatures inside are completely identical. There's absolutely no way that I can see of identifying each and every one of them individually. Now there's an aluminum part right here. I don't know if it's covering genitals of them or not, but the rest is filled with the solution. There's a couple tanks right here. I don't know if they're oxygen. I don't know what they hold. There's no identifying marks on them whatsoever. There's absolutely no air in the tanks. It's all solution. And the grays are just in here, right here. They're suspended.
That's not his footage that we were just showing, though, is it? That's. I mean, I'm sure that's from like a Phil Schneider thing from Dulce.
I don't know.
Say, this feels a lot like the Dulce lore, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Like a ton.
Polished, but it looks like a black polished anodized iron.
Do we know when this footage came out, like this Connor Orion interview? Because depending on the time frame, he absolutely could have pulled almost all of this from lore.
You think so?
You asked when EBE was first mentioned. I think there's FOIA memos that have come out from like the possibly the 40s, but definitely the 50s and 60s where EBE was mentioned. So it was around.
Yeah, and EBE also came out in the Aquarius documents, that MJ12 drop.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that was 82 or 84, I think. And if I'm not mistaken,
okay,
something like that. Yeah, it's around that time. And then, yeah, okay. So Derek Hennessy gave the video interviews to Wendell Stevens with associate Jem Cox in 1991. So this is after all of that. He absolutely could pull all this from lore.
You could. Yeah.
Or it could not be from lore. I don't know. Like, it's just, it's hard to say, because a lot of the terms, a lot of the information he's trying to throw out there was definitely in the sphere if you knew where to look for it at the time. So, and if you're trying to craft a narrative, you would want to include corroborating details from other narratives, I would think.
It just seems like, the thing I always go to, I don't disagree with what you're saying. You make an excellent point, but my sense is always like, yeah, but this is a guy talking to a VHS camcorder out in the desert, in the sand, sketching on a piece of paper, in 1991 or 2. There's no internet. There's no distribution mechanism. At best, a few dozen people might see this tape ever, so there's definitely no mechanism for someone at that level to be making money, or, the only thing you could be accomplishing by that is just spreading weird misinformation or disinformation within the community. I could see that, but
I mean, that's valid too.
That's valid too.
I was going to say that's a completely valid thing to do, especially somebody that might have actually been employed out there might be told, "Hey, you need to go do this disinfo."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was when did the Phil Schneider stuff come out? Was that 94 when he started talking? Anyone know? Bob Andrew?
Sure.
No? Okay.
No, I'm not sure.
Because it does sound so much like the Dulce stuff.
We should pick a week and do a full episode on just Phil Schneider. That would be a whole thing, right there. The Phil Schneider
He went public in May of 1995.
95?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
All right, guys. I feel like we should go ahead and wrap it up there. It's been 3 hours. I think that's enough.
Congrats,
for everybody.
Rob, on your new job. We are so proud of you and happy for you. And I think we're all very lucky to have you doing what you're doing.
Welcome to the beat, bro.
Thanks, guys.
To the beat.
Make us proud.
Yeah. You're going to be awesome, man. This is great. Shout out to Rob Jones, ladies and gentlemen. Rob Jones, our own Rob Jones, on the inside at News Nation, covering this beat. This is fucking huge. Really cool.
Is this your first interview as a paid ufologist?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Nice.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
No, I did another interview that is not out yet.
Fine.
So
This
it is your
first one
first
out.
interview. Yeah.
Well,
We
no,
beat
I mean,
them.
this is my first interview while doing the job. After I had gotten the job, but before I got up here, I did another interview that I had to fly to Austin for. So.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gotcha. All right, guys. Anything else you want to share before we go?
No, I just want to ask the viewers, please, if you guys are interested in the unexplained, the weird, whatever it is, definitely please watch our shows, Reality Check with Ross Coulthart, where we take an investigative journalism angle into this entire phenomenon, or Reality Check Unreported with Megan Medic, where we go more on the experiencer side. If you guys have tips, you have any info that you want to reach out to us, there's a lot of angles for you to do so. Reality Check at newsnationnow.com, or you can reach out to Muckraker at protonmail.me, or Rob Jones Reports at protonmail.me if you guys want to give some sort of testimony or a witness statement to us. We're happy to field that and investigate it if we can. We will always protect your anonymity if that's something you want to do. Be safe digitally, like when you try and communicate with us, and make sure to email us on those Proton Mail accounts from another Proton Mail account. If you want to retain, any degree of secrecy and use the internal PGP encryption tools, please do that way. And we will never, ever betray your trust if you reach out to us. Just like, all the other folks that make their hay in this industry or telling news, we will never, ever betray your trust if you want to give us some sort of testimony or something of that nature. We're here to tell stories and speak truth to power if possible. So please just keep us in mind if you've got something you want to tell the world.
Outstanding. Rob Jones, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. This has been awesome. And just a reminder to everybody at home, if you want to support the Night Shift, if you want to keep us on the air and doing this every week, go to teamnightshift.com. Check out some of our cool merch. You can sign up for our mailing list, or you can pick up Night Shift the coffee. It's real. It's very real. It's very delicious. It's brewed. It's roasted and shipped to you within 48 hours of your order. It's the best coffee in the world, and it's what I drink on the show. And every bag you buy helps us out. So thank you so much for watching, everybody. We'll see you again next week. Take care of yourselves and each other, and keep looking up.